Hokage Unlimited enhancement every 60 days, Chapter 61-80. 061. Target Kurabi. Long Yi, how to control the tailed beast chakra, you teach others. She has been cultivating for a whole morning, but still no progress. I don't know if she is really annoyed, or she is deliberately acting like a spoiled child. Shangrin holds Long Yi's arm and complains. Subduing Shangrin was just a whim in the Chunin exam. Unexpectedly, now that they meet again, Shangrin actually brings news of Sanwei. Shangrin, Santai, and Long also immediately thought of sealing the three tails into Shangrin's body, making it a three-tailed human pillar. But Shangrin has a pure vortex bloodline, and is the best candidate for Renzuli. Therefore, after obtaining the permission of Shangrin, the dragon also sealed the three tails directly into her body with the seal of the four elephants. Sorry, I can't help you. Long also shook his head helplessly. Even a traverser could at most give some advice. After all, he was not a human being and could not give specific guidance at all. Looks like it's time to find a teacher for you. Long also smiled and couldn't help but say something. Reason for capturing the tailed beast is to prevent Akatsuki from resurrecting the 10 tails. Conquering Fu and Shangrin one after another, Sanwei and Nanwei, are already in Long Yi's hands. Xiao will not give up easily, and will definitely come to snatch the tailed beast. Therefore, while hindering Akatsuki, it also brought great danger to himself. To deal with danger is to strengthen one's own strength, so Long Yi asked Shangrin to learn the method of mastering the tailed beast chakra as soon as possible. Speaking of which, although Fu became a human pillar force early on, her control over the Naneo was also mediocre. In this way, finding a teacher for them is not just a casual talk by Long, but it is indeed an objective need. And the one who can act as the teacher of the human pillar is naturally the human pillar. Is it the power of the human column? Long also pondered slightly, thinking in his heart. One-tailed Morizuru, Hitozuri as Gaara of Sandian, and Gaara, as Cage, can't get away at all. Two tails travel again. Renzuli is Union's Yumu Ren. Yumu Ren has a high status in Union Village, and it is estimated that he will not leave the village easily. Four-tailed Sun Wukong. Renzuli is the old purple of Yenian, and left the village because of a quarrel with Toying, and now he is nowhere to be seen. King Mu with 5 tails. Renzuli is a Han of Yenian, and the situation is similar to that of Yumu with 2 and 2 tails. The 6-tailed rhinoceros. Renzuli is Yu Gao of Wuyin, who has now defected and disappeared, and is withdrawn and difficult to contact. The 8-tailed bull ghost. Renzuli is Union's Kurabi, the younger brother of Rakage, who can perfectly control the 8 tails, and is extremely playful. It seems that it is easier to coax. 9-tailed Kurama. Renzuli is Naruto of Konoha. Forget it, Naruto himself can't control the tailed beast. It's him. After thinking about it, only Kurabi is the most suitable. Long also pondered, not only let Kurabi teach Shanglan and Fu to control the tailed beast, but it is better to be able to fool him into the group, and then form a tailed beast with Shanglan and Fu. Squad. Just imagine, with Ryuya's strength and such a tailed beast squad, even in the face of Akatsuki's multi-person attack, you don't have to worry. Go. Thinking of this, Long also gave a light drink and got up. Where to go? Shangrin was startled, her face full of doubts. Cloudy Village. The dragon also smiled and pointed to the north. Shangrin didn't understand why he suddenly went to Union Village. But she didn't think too much, didn't ask. In short, as long as she could be with the dragon, it would be fine. Said they would leave, the two immediately set off for Union Village. Road went smoothly, and a few days later, it crossed the border and entered the Land of Thunder. A few days later, it was not far from Union Village. The time has come. This afternoon, the 60-day time limit has come since the last enhancement, and the dragon has once again obtained an opportunity for infinite enhancement. The soil flow wall has not yet been practiced, and at this time, there are no skills that can be strengthened in the personal panel. According to the rules of the system, the skills that have been strengthened cannot be strengthened again. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to give up opportunities many times in the past 2 years. Golden enhancement. But the difference this time is that it has entered a new round of strengthening, and this time you can choose gold strengthening. Strengthen the lungs. As for which organs to strengthen, Long Yi had already considered everything before, and then directly issued an order. This gold enhancement, target, lungs. As the host confirmed, yes. Golden enhancement starts, target, lungs. Lung enhancement +1, lung enhancement +2. Lung enhancement +10 breathing ability improvement. Lung enhancement +11. Lungs enhancement strengthen +10, breathing ability is improved again. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket lungs strengthen +10 close black lens bracket. The system prompts began to sound one after another, and the dragon also chose to block again. Then he began to think about how to fool Kurabi. The dragon did not want to capture the 8-tailed beasts, but to join Rocky Rabbi, and let him teach Xianglin and Fu to control the tailed beasts. It is necessary to do what he likes, and let Kurabi be willing to follow him. But what to do, the dragon also has no idea for a while. You are here waiting for me to come back. In a word, let's check the information first. Then Long also explained to Xiangrin, and then went to Union Village alone. As a hidden village of one of the 5 major countries, Union, like Konoha, does not refuse the entry of ninjas from other countries and villages. Of course, the premise is that you can't make trouble. But Long Yi's reputation is getting more and more famous now, and it's not very good to appear in Union Village rashly. So I specially found a bamboo hat to cover my face. This is Union Village. After successfully entering the village, Long Yi turned on his radar ear and searched for Kurabi while enjoying the exotic customs. Anyway, let's find Kurabi first. Have you heard that Yumu-sama has disappeared? It's not that he disappeared, but that he was attacked by a powerful enemy. According to the situation at the scene, Lord Yumu has even turned into a tailed beast. Hopefully, Lord Yumu Ren will not encounter any unexpected events. It's really worrying. Two Yumu people. Before finding the trace of Kurabi, Long also suddenly got an important piece of information. 2 two-tailed people, Zuli and 2 Yumu people, were attacked and disappeared. Xiao. In addition to Xiao organization, who else will start with the tail beast, and who else has this strength? Moreover, in the original book, Akatsuki indeed defeated Yukito and drew 2 two-tails. But in terms of time, it seems to be a lot earlier. However, because of the appearance of Long Yi, many things have long since deviated from the original track, and it is not impossible for Xiao to act in advance. Go. Thinking of this, Long also left Union Village immediately. Compared to Flickering Rabbi, the most important thing right now is to recapture Yumu Man. According to the information from the Snoop, Yumu Man has just disappeared for a day, and it should be too late. Philo reminds you, 3 things to read. 062, 700 million giant lungs. Blood flow. Xiao organization usually works in groups of 2 and captures Ren Zuli according to the assigned tasks. After capturing, instead of returning to Yurin village, they will find a nearby stronghold, channel the golem of the outer Tao, and directly extract the tailed beast. Due to Orochimaru's betrayal, not enough. 10 people out of 10, it would take at least 3 days to extract the tailed beast from Ren Zuli's body. So, as long as you catch up quickly, you should be able to save Yuki. This way. At this time, I have to say that Xiangrin's perception ability is indeed powerful. Especially after the tailed beast is sealed in the body, he is more and more sensitive to the chakras of other tailed beasts. After a while, he sensed the direction of the 2 tailed beasts nearby. Among them, the one in Union Village is naturally 8 tails. And the other direction is 2 tails. Go. After finding it, Long also took the incense stick and immediately chased after him. Because it was a day late, and the other party was not walking slowly, it was difficult to catch up for a while. but the other party has been moving, indicating that the tailed beast has not been drawn, so there is still a chance. This strengthening is over. After chasing for nearly a day, the system prompt sounded this afternoon. While the dragon continued to chase, he turned on the system and checked the result of strengthening. The lungs, as the main respiratory organs, are responsible for the exchange of gases in the body. And this strengthening is mainly in this direction. After 864 enhancements, it has reached an alveolus, which is comparable to the entire lung of an ordinary person. There are more than 700 million alveoli in the human lung. In other words, Long Yi's lung ability has been increased by more than 700 million times. It's so strong. Seeing this number, Long couldn't help but be surprised. The specific external manifestation is the improvement of Long Yi's breathing ability. He can only breathe once a year or even years, decades. As long as he takes this breath long enough, the stored oxygen is enough for the body to consume for a long time. In addition to the huge reserves, the most important thing is that the exchange speed has also been greatly improved. The same way, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide that was originally carried out within a year, the dragon can also complete in an instant. Of course, the premise is that he needs to inhale so much air at once. Oxygen. After reading the introduction of the system, Long Yi's mind suddenly flashed, and suddenly a 7-day call for a body technique sounded. The so-called 7-day call is a secret technique created by Sand Ninja Zaluo. The principle is, by inhaling a lot of oxygen, increase the activation of the body, so as to achieve the effect of increasing the body. In the new Chunin exam, Ryu also saw this ninjutsu, and its effect is no less than the 8-door Dunjia that does not open the door to death. Since it is through the inhalation of oxygen, the body is activated, and the strength of Ryu's lungs is now, it should also be possible. Inhale. Better to try it than think more, and the dragon suddenly uses it. According to the original book, when using the 7-day call, Ziluo's lungs are 4 times their usual size. And the dragon with the 700 million giant lungs has more than 4 times the lung capacity, and it can reach 10 times, 100 times, 10,000 times in an instant. This is the next moment after inhaling a large amount of oxygen, the dragon couldn't help but startled. The blood in the body was rushing fast. Yes, the lungs are the main organs of breathing, but it is blood that sends the inhaled oxygen to all parts of the body. Of blood circulation is the heart. Bang bang bang. At this time, Long can almost clearly hear his own heartbeat like a rapid drumbeat. With so much oxygen inhaled, the heart has to work harder to get it to all parts of the body immediately. The heart rate has reached more than 600 beats per minute. If it is an ordinary person, I am afraid that the heart will burst and die. But Long Yi's heart has also been strengthened and can easily control this heart rate. Boom! With the rapid beating of the heart, oxygen is rapidly delivered to all parts of the body. A gate in the body seems to be opened, and the cells of the whole body are rushing river water. It's done. Long was also excited for a while. He did activate his body, which greatly improved his physical fitness. Feeling this change, Long couldn't help but feel excited. Comparing to the 8-door Dunjia's 7-day call method, I just practiced it. You must know that the 8-door Dunjia is a high-level forbidden technique. No. Carefully, the dragon couldn't help shaking his head secretly. The real 7-day call can be continuously advanced, from the first activity to the 7th activity. And the call of the dragon at this time, although it also activated the body, but there is no improvement in the next stage. Sure enough, as a secret technique comparable to the 8 gates of Dunjia, there is no such simple answer. The next moment, the dragon also exhaled a long breath, and the breathing rate returned to normal. According to the calculation of Ultra Brain, the amount of oxygen inhaled in the body and the amount of carbon dioxide discharged in an instant, when the circulation balance is reached, the body can be activated and the physical quality can be improved 3 times. If you want to continue to improve, so as to continuously inhale oxygen, it will hinder the excretion of carbon dioxide, but affect the body's activity. 3 times. After getting this conclusion, Long couldn't help but smile. After all, it was just a preliminary attempt, and he was very satisfied with this effect. When there is time in the future, further research, and gradual improvement, will definitely be the same as the 7-day call method, and it will continue to improve and activate the body to the greatest extent. At the same time, Long was also secretly glad that he had strengthened his heart early. Otherwise, with his reckless behavior just now, his heart rate would suddenly increase a few hundred times, and he might have died of a heartburst. At this time, it has to be said that the development and research of secret techniques is accompanied by huge risks. Qi and blood. Carefully, the secret technique of Long Yi is not the same as the 8-door Dunjia that clears the limitation of chakra, and the 7-day breathing method that simply uses oxygen to enhance the body's activity. In addition to oxygen, blood also plays an important role. You know, blood has many other nutrients besides transporting oxygen. So after thinking about it, the dragon also named it Qi and blood flow. Just ahead. Just when Long Yi was thinking about it, Shangren suddenly said something. 10 miles away. Great. Long also retracted his mind, smiled at the corner of his mouth, and finally caught up. Swish swish. The next moment, the dragon also used the avatar technique. His figure flashed a few times, and he directly chased after him. Dragon 2. Seeing Long also chasing after him, Shangren was nervous for a while, for fear that he would encounter danger, so he tried his best to catch up. Passing through a jungle, Akatsuki, who had just reached the open space, organized the two of them, frowning and could not help but stop. 063. Runaway incense. Whoosh. The sound of breaking the air sounded, and a figure flashed, blocking the way of the two. It's you again. Seeing the sudden appearance of Long Yi, Zhao couldn't help frowning. Yes, we meet again. Looking at the undead duo opposite, Long also smiled. After the new Chunin exam, the two of them captured Naneo, but were rescued by Ryuya. This time they were ordered to capture the second and second tails, but they did not expect to encounter Long Yi again. It's not as simple as the enemy's road is narrow, it's just like making it clear that they can't get along with them. But I have to say that Long Yi's strength cannot be underestimated, Zhao Du is so cautious. Kill you. In contrast, Fei Duan was much more direct, and with an angry roar, he rushed up with a ferocious face. Last time we fought, it was just a face-to-face, and he was kicked out by the dragon too. After more than 200 kilometers, the body was smashed to pieces. Post-event corner. I found them all, and after searching for more than a day, they put him back together again. But even so, there are some widgets that don't fit together and have to be filled by others. So for Long Yi, Feijuan can be described as hated to the bone. Enemy was very jealous when they met, he rushed up without thinking, and wanted to kill Long Yi. Just in time. Seeing this, the dragon not only did not dodge, but smiled in his heart. Feijuan's attack method is simple, but the ability of death by blood is really troublesome. If he accidentally took blood, it would be over. So, the strategy this time is the same as before. First kick the flying section, and then concentrate on dealing with the corner. All. Come on. Seeing that Feijuan was about to rush up, Long Yi's Konoha whirlwind was also ready. Firestorm. But at this moment, the angle shouted loudly, and suddenly started ninjutsu. I saw the corner. Du has already shown the state of earth resentment. The fire escape mask on the shoulders casts head hard. The wind escape mask uses pressure damage. The wind boosts the fire, and forms a combination of ninjutsu. Boom. The next moment, with a loud roar, a huge flame, not only the dragon, but also Feijuan who rushed up, engulfed it together. Whoosh. In addition to being surprised, the dragon also cast a substitute technique in time to avoid this wave of attacks. Hey. At this time, Feijuan walked out of the flames, with a grin on his face, and rushed towards Long Yi again. Fire escape, head hard. And after Haiden approached Ryuya, Kokaku, both immediately performed ninjutsu and attacked both of them together. Troublesome. Double dodged again, Long couldn't help frowning. Normally, waves should be avoided when performing ninjutsu. But Feijuan has an immortal body, so there is no need to worry about it. Moreover, seeing through the dragon also gave priority to solving Feijuan's intentions, but instead used Feijuan as bait. Kokaku, it's just like attacking the dragon, it's like aiming at the flying section. Long also suspects that it's not that he has long held grudges against Feijuan. Although Feijuan is immortal, it still hurts. But I have to say, this strategy works very well, and the dragon is very passive now. Haha, kill you. Hidan, who was attacked by ninjutsu one after another, was still fine, shouting that he rushed towards Ryuya. With Kakuto's ninjutsu support, he can attack unscrupulously. On the other hand, Long Yi couldn't get close to Feiduan at the same time. Because of Feiduan's entanglement, he couldn't turn to the attack angle. Fire escape, head hard. Wind escape, crushing. Lay done, pseudo darkness. Water escape, water curtain. Next, Zhao, all cooperated with the flying section that entangled Long Yi, with 444 masks on his body, and began to cover the crazy output. Boom, boom. For a time, the whole open space was full of loud noises. Wind, fire, water, and thunder were everywhere. And you must know that the corner, although he is a person, he has 444 masks and can release 444 ninjutsu at the same time. In this way, in addition to directly attacking Longya, you can also block Longya's dodging space. Whoosh! Damn! He moved to dodge again, but was still affected by the flames. Looking at the burnt left hand, Long couldn't help frowning. If it continues like this, let alone saving Yuki, I am afraid that he himself is in danger. Open the personal panel. The only ninjutsu available at the moment are the toad oil bomb and the fireball technique. 5 people of Yin Nin, who dealt with the reincarnation of the dirty earth before, have already sprayed the toad oil almost. As for the technique of the flamboyant fireball, the scope is too large. If one hits, not only the undead duo, but even the Yuki people on the ground will be finished. Fire escape, head hard. Just as the dragon was thinking about it, the corners had already started attacking again. At the same time, Feijuan rushed up again. Whoosh! In short, move to avoid them first, and don't make contact with them. Corner. Ninjutsu attacks are indeed intensive, but correspondingly, the consumption of chakra is also extremely high. And Long Yi's stand-in technique, as a high-level ninjutsu, has limited consumption, not to mention that with the heart of the tailed beast, he already has a large amount of chakra. Long also has a serious expression, and is ready to fight a war of attrition to see who can spend more. Dragon. And at this time, the fallen incense finally came. Seeing Long Yi, who was under the attack of Feijuan and Zhao, scurrying around in the field, and danger frequently, Shangrin's eyes widened instantly, his pupils dilated and his eyes sluggish. Ah. The next moment, with a raised head and a roar, a large number of dark red-tailed beasts' chakra surged out of Shangrin's body. It was like a piece of clothing that wrapped her whole body. This is. Looking at the sound, seeing Shangrin in this state, Long was also instantly happy. Half-tailed beast. Another one. Opposite corner. They are all frowning. Their task is to catch the tailed beast, but it is not a good thing to have a tailed beast at this time. As for Feijuan, I completely ignored it, and still, desperately chasing and killing Long Yi. You are not allowed to shoot at the dragon. Who was transformed into a half-tailed beast for the first time, had obviously lost her mind and entered a state of rampage. But even so, her concern for Long Yi did not change. With a roar, he went straight to the horns that continued to release ninjutsu to the dragon, all. Firestorm. Seeing Shangrin approaching aggressively, Zhao didn't dare to neglect, turned around immediately, and released a combination of ninjutsu on Shangrin. Boom! The next moment, I saw a sea of fire, which engulfed the incense in an instant. Kill you! But then, following a series of crazy roars, Shangrin jumped out of the sea of fire directly, still rushing towards the corner like crazy. Transformed into a half-tailed beast, her body is completely wrapped in the tailed beast's chakra coat, and normal attacks can't hurt her at all. Excellent! Seeing Shangrin successfully holding Zhao Du, Long Yi was overjoyed, and then looking at Feijuan who rushed up, his face turned cold again. Looking for death. Failu reminds you. 3 things to read. 064. Destroy the undead duo. Noba whirlwind. Pung. Under the terrifying force, with a muffled sound, Feijuan's head was like a rotten watermelon, and it kicked out in an instant. Puff. Then, only the rest of the body fell to the ground, motionless. Feijuan does have an immortal body, but he has no ability to heal himself and repair broken limbs. And body movements are still controlled by the brain. So when the head is cut off, the body cannot move, not to mention the head explodes directly. It's really a problem. Looking at Feijuan's motionless body and his blood-stained head, Long also suddenly had a question, whether Feijuan is now dead or alive. At this moment, with a loud noise, half the tailed beast-shaped incense was blasted out directly. I have to say, Zhao, after all, they are characters of the same era as the first generation, even if Shangrin, who has been transformed into a half-tailed beast, is not his opponent. What's more, Shangrin had already lost her mind at this time, and she had no tactics at all. Whoosh! However, it's enough to just hold on for a while, and the dragon has also completed the flying section. Immediately after a displacement, the dragon also disappeared from the spot again. Damn Manzuli! After blasting the incense sticks, Zhao Du has a gloomy face. The power of the tailed beast is too strong, and without the cooperation of the flying section, even him, it is extremely difficult to be rigid. After all, the previous defeat of Yukido 2 and 2 also relied on Haiden's spell. Thinking of this, Zhao couldn't help looking in the direction of Feijuan, but only saw a headless body, and his eyes widened instantly. Blink of an eye, Feijuan, this bastard, lost so quickly. Then, Zhao Du went to look for the trace of Long Yi, but couldn't find it. Not good. Zhao, they all woke up suddenly and turned their heads quickly, but unfortunately, it was too late. Cut. Suddenly appeared in the corner, Long Yi who was behind Du, with a light shout, slashed directly with a sword. Click, click. Then, as the sword light flashed, there were 2 crisp sounds in succession. Zhao, 2 of the 444 masks behind the duo were instantly cut off. Corner. The grudge of the capital is the ability to manipulate the black thread to steal the heart and ninjutsu of others. Each mask represents a kind of ninjutsu and a heart, which is a life. Corner. There are a total of 444 masks, and together with himself, he has 5 lives. This is why he and Haiden are called the undead duo. But just now Long Yi slashed through his 2 masks with 1 sword, which was equivalent to killing him twice. Damn. Being hit so badly, Horn, both were furious. But then, instead of attacking Long Yi madly, he turned around and fled. I have to say, compared to the impulsive flying section, Zhao is much calmer. He knew in his heart that even if he still had 3 lives, after losing Feiden's cooperation, in a one-on-one situation, he might not be Long Yi's opponent. What's more, there is a madman Zuli here. So, run away. As for revenge, it will take a long time to come to Japan. Escape with all his strength, and even fly the body of the segment, with Zuli, he didn't care anymore. Perhaps, Zhao, all can live to the present, it is precisely because of this cautiousness. Where to go? The dragon's side, how could he let him escape? At the same time, the angry Shanglin let out a hysterical roar, and pounced on him again. Chi-Chi, Kai, Seeing being attacked from front and back, Zhao, all looked solemn. And with a light sound, the sutured part of his body suddenly collapsed quickly. Hula, hu. Immediately afterwards, two groups of black line monsters flew out from the angle, and each monster had a face formed by a mask. Ta-ta-ta. The next moment, Zhao, all turned around and ran. Where? Boom. Just as Long was about to chase after him, a monster suddenly opened his mouth to him, that is. A large group of flames spewed out. It was Huo Deng's hard work. Boom. At the same time, another monster stopped Shangrin, spewing lightning out of his mouth, and the thunder was dark. Quote. Long also had a solemn expression on his face, and it seemed that Zhao, all wanted to escape, even at the risk of giving up 2 more lives. Don't think about it. As a member of Akatsuki's organization, and can take the heart to increase the life of the corner, once he escapes this time, I am afraid it will not be so easy to kill him again. The dragon's face sank, and then he drank softly. Blood. Next moment, inhale hard. Boom. As a large amount of oxygen was inhaled into the lungs, the body suddenly became active, the momentum exploded, and the physical quality was instantly tripled. Whoosh. Cut. At this time, his right hand had already grasped the handle of the knife, and he directly chopped forward. Crack. Boom. While the dragon also slashed the mask, the monster also spewed out a lot of flames. Whoosh. The next moment, 3 kunai shot out from the flames one after another, heading straight for the fleeing horn. This is. Seeing the flying kunai, Zhao, both faces changed instantly. Whoosh. And at this moment, the dragon also suddenly appeared. In order to solve the monster as soon as possible, the dragon did not hesitate to be tough. Relying on the increase of qi and blood, he took ahead and worked hard. Noba Whirlwind. Although he was still seriously injured, he finally caught up with Zhao. The corner of Long Yi's mouth grinned, and he kicked it directly to the side of the Thunder Dun monster, and with a roar, he kicked it directly. Earth Spear. The corners of the eyes are wide open. He immediately shouted, and used his own Earth Escape ninjutsu. Immediately afterwards, I saw his skin harden in an instant, and his whole body turned black. Bang! And at this moment, Long Yi's kick had already kicked directly on Zhao. Boom! The next moment, with a loud noise, Zhao, all flew out. PFF'd. The corner in the air, opened his mouth and spewed out a mouthful of blood. Although the Earth Spear is a high-level ninjutsu and has a very strong defense, but unfortunately, how can it resist the 10,000-ton whirlwind of Long Yi? Boom! After a while, there was another loud noise, and the horns, all slammed into the ground and lost their breath. And at this moment, Shangrin, who turned into a half-tailed beast and lost his senses, has already thrown the last monster to the ground. Click! Under her frantic bite, with a crisp sound, the last mask finally shattered. Quote. Seeing this scene, Long also breathed a sigh of relief instantly and slumped directly on the ground. Zhao, Du's 5 hearts have been destroyed, and Zhao, Du has been completely killed. As for Feijuan, although he is immortal, his head has been shattered, and it is impossible to put it back together. To a certain extent even dead. In other words, the undead duo organized by Akatsuki are confirmed to be annihilated. Please download Feifei to read the underlined version of the novel. 065. People Zuli Squad, established. Are you better? A cat has 9 lives, so I can't I. The wooden man smiled, indicating that he was much better. Damn. Shangrin, who was next to him, saw that Long was also so gentle to other women, and she couldn't help but feel jealous and annoyed. Then there was Grievance, she just wanted to be bitten by the dragon, why should she be bitten by this woman? After annihilating the undead duo, Long also used the sealing technique to subdue Shangrin, who was in a rampant state. Speaking of which, if it wasn't for Shangrin's determination not to attack the dragon, the dragon wouldn't be able to take it so easily when he was already injured. After the recovery of incense sticks, use the ability, and tooth marks appear on the surface of the body. After the dragon also bit him, his body was no longer in serious trouble. Yumu was seriously injured, but he was much better. Thank you for saving me. Sitting up by the wooden man is a formal thank you. In that case. Long also paused for a while, and suddenly said with a smile. Then repay us. What? Yumu was stunned for a moment. She was just out of politeness. Shouldn't the other party say, no thanks, or something like a trivial matter? This young man in front of him doesn't play cards according to the routine. Cough, you were right. The wooden man immediately came back to his senses and said with a serious face. My life-saving grace, I should really repay it. I have been working for many years and have received a total of nearly 10 million taels of compensation. But apart from the usual expenses, mainly the money for buying clothes and cosmetics, there are still more than 1 million taels, if you don't dislike it. I don't want money. Long also waved his hand, interrupted Yumu Ren's words, slightly sighed at the 9 million taels of clothes and cosmetics, and then said directly. You saw it just now, my companion is also Ren Zuli. But obviously, she can't control the power of the tailed beast yet. Well, you mean, you are her teacher and teach her how to control the tailed beast. I become a teacher. I don't want this woman to be my teacher. Nice. No matter what. The astonished Yukito ignored Shangrin, who protested loudly, and Long nodded earnestly, still talking to himself. Besides, I have a companion who also needs to be taught. You have a companion, Zuli? Yes. This surprises me so much. Receiving an affirmative answer, regardless of how absurd Long Yi's proposal was, Yumu Man couldn't help but look solemn and re-examined Long Yi. In other words, the young man in front of him is actually a famous Zuli companion. You must know that even in Union Village, including her, there are only 2 Zuli. Yumu Ren couldn't help thinking, what is the origin of this young man, and he was able to recruit 2 people, Zuli. Oh, forgot to introduce myself. Seeing Yumu Ren's doubts, Long also suddenly realized, put on the forehead guard that he had taken off before entering Union Village, pointed to the sign on it, and said with a smile. I am Konoha Ninja, my name is Takagi Ryuya. Takagi Ryuya, that, stand-in Ryuya, seal the ninja. Obviously, Yumu Ren had also heard the name of Long Yi, and couldn't help but be a little surprised. But then, recalling Ryuya's battle just now, and the sealing technique he used to subdue Shangrin, he was already convinced of Ryuya's identity. Your other partner, Zuli, is it the 9 tails? Thinking of this, Yumu Ren asked again. Since he is a Konoha ninja, his companion should naturally be Konoha's 9 tails. Sorry, it's not. Long also smiled and shook his head. Quote. Yukito was speechless for a moment. It turned out to be not the 9 tails. In other words, this Takagi Ryuya does have another Zuli partner. Recently, I have heard about Takagi Ryuya's name one after another, and I just feel that he is a young genius. But until today, when I really met him, Yumu Ren knew just how terrifying the hidden strength behind this so-called genius. Wait. Thinking of this, the wooden man's expression changed instantly, and he looked at Long Yi vigilantly. I boldly speculate that Konoha doesn't know about the fact that you have 2 Zuli partners. You are a smart woman. Quote. Without the knowledge of the village, he privately recruited 2 people. Zuli, what exactly did he want to do? The most important thing was that such an important secret was told to her without hesitation. Thinking of this, Yumu Ren could not help frowning secretly. It seems that she may not be able to escape today. Let's talk about whoever caught you. 4. Yumu's vigilance. The dragon seemed to be completely unaware, or didn't care at all. You may not know yet, the name of this organization is called Shao. Immediately afterwards, regardless of Yumu's reaction, Long also spoke to himself. Basically the same as what I told Fu at the beginning, introducing Akatsuki's situation and their terrifying purpose of collecting tailed beasts and creating weapons that can destroy the world. Xiao. To be said that the information that Long Yi said was too shocking, even Yumu Ren was full of shock. As for what Long also said, although she had doubts, she also believed it a little. After all, the Xiao organization attacked her, and it was indeed aimed at the tailed beast. So, I rescued the Nanao Ren Zuri of Taki Ninja Village, and made him a partner. Found the 3 tails in the wild state and sealed them into my partner. At this time, the dragon also spoke again. The purpose is to stop Xiao from collecting tailed beasts. So, Yukito was startled again, and couldn't help but re-examine Long Yi again. If it really is as he said, then the boy who is only 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 7, and 7 years old in front of him does not have any shocking conspiracy, but it is precisely to protect the world. He even puts himself at risk. You now have 2 choices. While the wooden man was thinking about it, the dragon also spoke again. First, return to Union Village. Fight against Akatsuki through Union Village, but at the same time, you who return to the bright place will definitely become Akatsuki's target again. Second, follow me. Hide and help me guide these 2 immature companions by the way. Looks like you've already planned it. Hearing this, Yumu Man completely understood Long Yi's intentions. He couldn't help but smile. But you should know what I mean to Union Village. If you take me away, you will surely anger Raikage-sama and the entire Union Village. To be honest, my original plan was to kidnap Uncle Karabi. Yumu Ren was speechless again. It seemed that the young man in front of him was really not afraid of heaven and earth. Then he took a deep breath, smiled and extended his hand to the dragon. Anyway, I also need to recuperate, so let's walk with you. Welcome to join. Clap. Long also smiled and held Yugi's hand. Phailu reminds you, 3 things to read. 066. Accelerated timeline. As a good ninja, vigilance is one of the basic qualities. Yukito couldn't fully believe Ryuya who met for the first time. But there is one thing that Long is also right, if she returns to Union Village, she will definitely become the target of Xiao's organization again. The strength of the Xiao organization has been witnessed by the wooden people, and if it strikes again, it is likely to bring huge disaster to Union Village. And the most important thing is that once she is caught, the tailed beast is drawn out of her body, and her death does not matter. The key is that terrifying tailed beast weapon, and it is one step closer to completion. So, in order to stop Xiao, Yumu has to protect himself. And the best choice right now is to follow Long Yi and hide for the time being. Takagi Ryu also. At the same time, Yu Murin also wanted to take the opportunity to investigate whether Long also had other ulterior motives. Moreover, Long also had 2 people, Zuli, beside him. In order to stop Akatsuki, she had to keep an eye on it. The 2 Yumu people. Regarding Yumu's idea, Long also roughly guessed it, but he didn't mind. Because he has a clear conscience. Do whatever you want to investigate. And as far as the dragon knows, the wooden man can also completely control the tailed beast, although the degree may not be as good as that of Karabi, but it is not far behind. In this way, it is really suitable for Yumu to teach Shangrin and Fu. Besides, it's better to keep a beautiful big sister by your side than an annoying old man who raps all day. In short, although the 2 have their own thoughts, but the purpose is the same, they can cooperate completely. It's finally done. At the same time, the Renjuli team that Long Yi previously conceived was officially full after the wooden man joined it. Coincidentally, the 3 of them are all women, and they are all women in the current Renjuli. Go. The goal was achieved, and the dragon also took the incense stick and the wooden man, and immediately returned to Konoha. The rest of the way was silent, the 3 of them were not slow, and after a few days, they returned to Konoha smoothly. You are staying here for now. Kane and Yuki, of course, can't enter the village, and the dragon also takes them to the place where Fu hides. Three three-person pillars have converged, and Long also thought about finding a more secure and hidden stronghold. But where exactly, for a while? I haven't figured it out yet. In short, the three people are temporarily settled, and Long also returns to the village first. It's been a while since the attack on Yunnan village, and I don't know what the current situation in the village is. Dragon 2. Unexpectedly, just as Long also walked into the entrance of the village, he encountered a familiar figure. Singer. This person is Naruto, and looking at Naruto, who has also grown into a young man, Long couldn't help but feel happy. You are back. Naruto nodded heavily and said with a smile. Finally completed the cultivation of the lecherous immortal, and came back more than a month ago. So. Long also nodded slightly, thinking in his heart, a little earlier than Harama. I have become very powerful. Speaking of cultivation, Naruto couldn't help but look proud, but then he was suddenly depressed. I heard that you defeated Da and destroyed Yunnan village. Damn, I still can't catch up with you. Hee. By the way, where have you been for so long? Everyone is worried about you. If you don't tell me, I almost forgot. Long also patted his head and said with a smile. I have to hurry up and report to Hokage-sama, so I won't talk to you for now. Well, I'm going to inform everyone about your return, and when you finish reporting, let's get together. Good. The dragon also waved his hand and went to see Hokage. After all, after being missing for so long, he had to give an account. Dragon 2. In Hokage's office, seeing Ryuya who suddenly appeared, Tsunade was excited and scolded with a smile. You stinky boy, where have you gone for so long? After destroying the Sound Ninja village, something went wrong on the way back. Accidental? What an accident. Meet Shao organization. Damn. Hearing the name, Tsunade instantly became furious. Shao again. Long was also startled and couldn't help asking. Is there anything else about Akatsuki? Shao organization has done something that is outrageous. Tsunade's face sank, and he said sharply. Just a month ago, they attacked Cascage. I love Luo. Tsunade nodded and went on to tell the details. In fact, even if Tsunade didn't say it, the dragon was also very clear as a transmigrator. Just didn't expect that things would develop much faster than he expected. It seems that because of his appearance, the pressure on all parties is inadvertently causing various events to take place at an accelerated pace. Fortunately, Gaara's result was the same as in the original, and was rescued by Naruto who had just returned to Konoha. The end, Granny Chiyo used a forbidden technique to reincarnate herself, and she used her own life to save Gaara, who was killed by a single tail. In this battle, one tail was taken away by Akatsuki, Chiyo's mother-in-law was sacrificed, and Akatsuki's scorpion was also killed. So, after listening to this, Long was also thoughtful. Coupled with the undead duo he killed, that is to say, the Shao organization has lost 3 people. Although one tail is lost, I have to say that this is indeed good news. What's more, now the 2, 3, and 7 tails are still in his hands. By the way, you said that you also met Shao. After talking about Gaara, Tsunade looked at Ryuya. Although he was fine now, there was still a trace of worry on his face. What exactly happened? Actually, I didn't fight them, I just followed them and got some information. The information is great. Hearing this, Tsunade was stunned at first, and then his face was full of joy. Shao's organization began to capture the tailed beast, which has seriously threatened various villages. But this organization is too secretive, and their intelligence is urgently needed now. At this time, Long also brought back the information of Shao organization, which is really a great good thing. I found out that Shao's base camp is actually in Yurin village. And their leader is named Pain. Immediately afterwards, Long also introduced Pain's abilities and other members of Akatsuki in general. After not returning to the village for such a long time, Long always has to find a suitable reason. I just took this opportunity to tell some information that I know so that Konoha can be prepared. Another, as a traveler's feelings, he also wanted to save Jiraiya's life. Now that he has said this information, Jiraiya will not have to go to Urin village to investigate, and he will not die at the hands of pain. It was so nice. Hearing Long also finished speaking, Tsunade was happy for a while, and then suddenly smiled again. My dear junior brother, you are so capable, it seems that I have to reward you well. 067. Tsunade's special reward. Reward. Good, reward. Putting away the joke, Tsunade said solemnly with a serious expression. In the previous war against Sound Ninja Village, you single-handedly saved Konoha and Sandian's face, and you should be rewarded. Hey, how much is it? Quote. Not money. Tsunade's eyes widened. He was not a big money fan because he was young. Their 3 endures are already yellow, gambling, and poisonous, and now there is another financial fan. Could it be that this is some kind of curse from the disciples of Sarutobi teacher, cough. The business is important, put away my thoughts, Tsunade smiled and continued. It's a special reward. Special. Long also looked at Tsunade. Although senior sister Shindao has been well maintained, she is already a mother-in-law. If you want to reward him personally, whether to accept it or not, if you don't accept it, will it hurt senior sister's self-esteem and in case of a violent runaway? Then he would be miserable. What do you think? Seeing Ryuya's thoughtful expression with a hesitant and struggling expression, Tsunade asked with a frown. Oh, nothing. Long also smiled and waved his hand, thinking that he has grown up, and he has been prone to cranky thoughts lately. Then he retracted his thoughts and asked directly. I don't know what the special reward is. This reward is. Tsunade smiled, pretending to be mysterious, and said after a pause. Spirituality. Tong. Long Yi, who was full of anticipation, could not help but turn to petrification in an instant. Spiritualism is only a special reward level ninjutsu. He is already a jonin, and he has long been qualified to learn it. Then he looked at Tsunade suspiciously. His reward will not be lost by this old woman, so randomly fool him with door level ninjutsu. What do you look like? Tsunade frowned, then smiled again, like an adult tricking a child. This psychic technique is extraordinary. Why is it unusual? Can you win every gamble? What a mess. What does psychicism have to do with gambling? I mean, I will teach you this psychic art myself. Then what? The dragon pouted in disdain, but then he suddenly came back to his senses, his eyes widened instantly, and he looked at Tsunade in disbelief. Sister, do you mean? Have you reacted, kid? Tsunade hummed softly, then said solemnly. That's right. You're going to make a contract with Wetbone Forest. Wetbone Forest. That's great. Hearing these 3 words, the dragon also burst into a psychic technique. It is indeed only a level ninjutsu, but sometimes, way can be comparable to the level. And the key to this depends on the strength of the creature from the psychic. Of the psychic beast depends on the number of chakras used by the caster. But there is another premise, that is, you must first contract with a powerful psychic beast. Said that the contract with the Wetbone Forest is different from the ordinary contract with a certain creature, but the contract is a region. In this way, all creatures in this area can theoretically be channeled. And the Shibone Forest is one of the 3 holy places as famous as Miaomu Mountain and Longdi Cave. Are you a slug? According to Long Yi, it is different from a group of toads in Miaomu Mountain and a nest of snakes in Longdi Cave. There is only one slug in Shibone Forest, and its size is extremely huge. It is called Slug Fairy. Part of the body. As for how much it can channel, it depends on the number of chakras used by the caster. Slugs have the ability to split, are immune to physical attacks, and can share information visually. It has a very strong corrosive acid in its body and can spit it out against the enemy. The most important thing is that slugs are extremely rare medical psychic beasts, which can heal and restore people. In short, as one of the symbols of Sanin, it is an extremely powerful psychic beast. Actually, the contract with the Shibone Forest is just a premise. While Ryuya was thinking, Tsunade spoke again. Because of this, you get the real reward. Real reward. Not bad. Tsunade nodded, his expression became more and more serious. Because only after the contract can you be qualified to go to the Shitbone Forest and learn fairy magic. Magic. You may not know about Shanshu. Seeing that Long was also shocked, Tsunade smiled and began to explain in detail. But in fact, the reason why Long Yi was so surprised was because he knew too much. He didn't expect that Tsunade would actually teach him a mortal art. You know, in the original work, this is in addition to the largest one hangs. How is it, are you satisfied? After finishing the explanation, Tsunade smiled when he looked at Ryuya's thoughtful look. It's more than satisfaction, it's just too much. The dragon also regained his senses, and his expression became serious. Why do you want to teach me magic? Because Konoha urgently needs to improve his combat power. Tsunade got up and looked out the window, his expression also solemn. A month ago, Xiao invaded Sandian, forcefully kidnapped Feng Ying, and extracted the tailed beast from its body. In fact, in addition to Sandian, the tailed beasts of Yenian village have also been captured by Akatsuki. There is also Union village, a person Zuli was also attacked and disappeared, although there is no conclusion yet, but it is estimated that it was also killed by Xiao. In this way, in the 5 hidden villages, except Konoha, and Wuin, who has long lost the tailed beast, all have been attacked by Akatsuki. It is not difficult to predict that Konoha, who has 9 tails, will soon be attacked. Become Akatsuki's next target. In order to deal with Akatsuki's attack, Konoha must improve her strength as much as possible while strengthening her defense. After leaving the Hokage office, Long also had a serious expression, not expecting the situation to be so severe. However, there is also an opportunity hidden in the crisis, and Long is also shocked. Going to the Shibone Forest to learn immortality, his strength will definitely leap. After informing Long Yi, Tsunade has already arranged the specific matters. Because the dragon just came back, he was given 10 days to rest and arrange some things. The next day, Naruto came to Long Yi early in the morning and dragged him into a barbecue restaurant. Agreed yesterday that everyone would hold a banquet for him. The same class who graduated together, and the 3rd class, Neji, Shaoli, Tian, a total of 14 people, had a carnival all day, and didn't disperse until the evening. After the banquet, Long did not go home, but quietly went out of the village to find Shangrin and the 3 of them. Konoha is about to become Akatsuki's target, so it is no longer safe outside Konoha village. I'm going to practice a practice. During this time, you guys go here. After briefly explaining the situation, Long also pointed to Tang Nin village on the map. Although Tang Ninja village is also a ninja village, it is called the village that forgets the war. Village is small, famous for its hot springs, rich in natural resources, and loves peace. Of course, this kind of village has also had an outlier, that is, Feijuan, who was solved by Long Yi. 3 people 3 are temporarily hiding there, there should be no problem. After you come back, I will definitely master the tailed beast. Although she was very reluctant, at this time, Shangrin showed her side of the big picture. I trust you. The dragon also smiled, and then took advantage of the night to quietly return to the village. The days that followed passed in a flash, and this morning, in addition to Long Yi, Naruto also came to the entrance of the village. As the 9-tailed man Zuri, he will go to Mt. Miaomu to learn celestial arts. Phailu reminds you, 3 things to read. 068. Wetbone Forest Slug Fairy. That summons psychic beasts to assist in battle. But in the same way, reverse psychics can also be performed, that is, psychic beasts summon ninjas. Whether it is Shizuku Forest or Miaomu Mountain, if you walk from Konoha, the journey is long and difficult, and it may take several months in time. Therefore, reverse channeling is the most convenient. Pung, pung. With two soft sounds, Ryuya and Naruto, who had signed a contract, instantly disappeared from the spot. Quote. Traveling through space, but there doesn't seem to be any strange feeling, and the whole process is just a blink of an eye. When the dragon came back to his senses, he had left Konoha and came to an unfamiliar place. Is this the wet bone forest? The dragon also looked around and saw that he was in a forest. I don't know what kind of tree it is, not a single leaf is bare, and the bare branches look like ghost hands. Trunk and branches, and I reached out and wiped it, it was cold and smooth. In addition to these strange trees, what surprised the dragon the most was that he could not see the sun, so the light was extremely poor, and the whole forest became more and more gloomy. Just now in Konoha, it was obviously daytime, and the sun had already risen. How could it be night here? You must know that the three holy places actually exist in this world, not in other time and space. Is it a mountain? The dragon also looked around, and saw that he was surrounded by dark mountains. I'm afraid that's all. High mountains, blocking the sun. Welcome, young seeker. Just as Long Yi was in shock, a voice suddenly sounded. It was a female voice, gentle and clear, completely different from the environment here. Although the sound is not large, it seems to be coming from a very high distance, and it seems to be coming from all directions. Are you a slug fairy? The dragon also recovered and said respectfully. I am Takagi Ryuya of Konoha, and I came to ask for immortality. I know, Tsunade has already mentioned it to me. That's fine. Long also breathed a sigh of relief. Before, he was worried that others would not teach him. It seems that Tsunade has indeed arranged it. Then he looked around and frowned again. The heart said that since he was willing to teach him, where is that person? Didn't he say that the body of the slug immortal is huge, why can't he see it? Slug fairy. Thinking of this, Long also simply spoke directly. Why don't you show up to guide me face to face? Hee, haven't I always been in front of you? Before me. Long was also stunned, and then looked carefully, there was clearly nothing in front of him. Boom, and at this moment, a loud noise suddenly came. This is. The next moment, in Long Yi's horrified eyes, he saw the mountains around him suddenly twist. And as the mountain twisted, the blocked sun was exposed, and the sun instantly filled the wet bone forest. Under the sunlight, the trees covered with slime, gave off a crystalline light. The original spooky forest of wet bones has instantly become beautiful as a fairyland. I haven't been this. Just when Long Yi was shocked, the voice of the slug fairy again. And looking at it again at this time, the original mountain has turned into a big slug head, looking at Long Yi. And the sun just exposed, only on her shoulders, like a soybean. Quote. Seeing the slug fairy in front of him, the dragon was so shocked again that he was speechless. It turned out that the surrounding mountains were actually the body of the slug fairy. Entire wet bone forest was actually just a piece of the folds on her back. I only knew before that the body of the slug fairy is huge, and the slug that Tsunade channeled is only a part of the body. How big the slug fairy body is, I guess it is at most 5 or 6, a toad is too big. But until today, Long did not know how shallow his thoughts were. I don't know the true face of Mount Lu, only because I am in this mountain. In addition to being ashamed, Long couldn't help but think of this poem, this time he was really blind to Mount Tai. Takagi Ryuya. Just when the dragon was laughing at himself, the voice of the slug fairy came again. Why do you want to learn magic? Why study magic? Long couldn't help but startled, this is a question, and then answered without hesitation. Of course, to get stronger. You may not understand what I mean why do you want to be strong? Does it need a reason to become stronger? Of course, some people are trying to prevent the war from becoming stronger, and some people are trying to protect their companions from becoming stronger. Slug Fairy seemed to recall several faces, and then turned to Long Yi again. Takagi Ryuya, tell me why you want to become stronger. There is no reason, I just want to be stronger. Quote. The Slug Fairy, who was originally looking forward to it, was instantly speechless. Okay. It wasn't until after a long while that the Slug Immortal spoke again and asked solemnly. Then you who became stronger in order to become stronger, how much are you willing to give to become stronger? Effort. Hundreds of thousands of times of hard work regardless of everything. Funny boy, all right, let me see your decision. The Slug Immortal suddenly smiled meaningfully, and then said, shaking the tentacles on the top of her head slightly. When you reach under my tentacles, I will teach you fairy magic. This is so easy. Long was also overjoyed, and his face was full of excitement. Although the Slug Immortal is as big as a mountain, it is only like that. With the strength of Long Yi's feet, he can reach the tentacles in less than a day. Ta. Immediately afterwards, the dragon was also in high spirits and ran towards the tentacles like a benchmark. But less than 2 minutes later, Long also suddenly stopped suddenly, frowning slightly. Whoosh! Immediately afterwards, the dragon also suddenly disappeared from the spot. And look at the next moment, he has already reached under that tentacle. How is it possible? At this time, the voice of the Slug Fairy sounded, full of surprises. Your illusion is very powerful. Long also smiled, then changed the subject and announced proudly. But in the illusion, I am the king who controls everything. Quote. Looking at Long Yi, who was full of ambition, Slug Immortal couldn't help but be silent for a while. Immortal magic, as a powerful force, cannot be easily taught. Signing a contract is just a prerequisite. The most important thing is to pass the test. The 3 holy places of the ninja world and the 3 immortals have different ideas and concepts, and the tests given are also different. What the Slug Immortal wants to test is the heart of seeking the Tao. So she set up an illusion and set a goal that can never be reached, that is, I want to see how long the seeker can hold on. Tsunade, Slug Immortal liked it very much back then, but because she only persisted for 20 years, she did not teach her immortality. This kind of test, the Slug Fairy has been carried out hundreds of times, and very few have passed. The dragon was the first to break her illusion directly. Takagi Ryuya. A long while, the Slug Fairy spoke again and said with a smile. If it weren't for your ordinary eyes, I really doubt that you are of Indra's blood. But even Indra himself can't decipher my illusion. Then am I qualified? Of course, no matter what method you use, as long as you touch this tentacle, you have passed the test. The Slug Immortal's voice was unquestionable, and then said with a smile. My little dragon, then, let's start the cultivation of immortality. 069. Meridian problem, solved. Ninja uses ninjutsu, it is the energy of Jiyu chakra. Chakra is a mixture of physical and spiritual energy. In addition to this, there is a natural energy in the outside world. Absorb natural energy from the sky and the earth, and mix with physical ability and spiritual energy according to 1, to form a fairy chakra. Unleashed by Immortal Chakra, the more powerful ninjutsu is Immortal Jutsu. Not only that, in the immortal mode, the connection with nature is closer, and it will also derive a super perception ability. From the body of the Slug Fairy, a slug more than 2 meters long is listed, and the dragon is also face to face, officially teaching him the magic. Then let's get started. After explaining the concept of immortality in detail, the slug clone began to guide the dragon to carry out specific cultivation. First, stop thinking, let go of thinking, and enter an ethereal state. In this ethereal state, feel the ubiquitous natural energy that surrounds you. While guiding, the slug clone looked at the state of the dragon. I saw that the dragon was also sitting cross-legged, and his body did not move at all. And a lot of natural energy has begun to gather around him. Quote. Seeing this scene, the slug clone couldn't help but widen his eyes. Before that, Tsunade also specifically explained that dragons are also very poor in aptitude, and I am afraid it will be a little difficult to learn, so let the slug clone be a little more patient. But the fact is that the slug clone only explained it once, and the dragon also entered an ethereal state and began to gather chakra. If this counts as poor aptitude, then the so-called geniuses are probably not as good as pigs. After all, it took a full day for the pillars of the year to achieve this step. Remember, don't absorb too much natural energy at once. It must be one, mixed with physical ability and spiritual energy. Otherwise, well, what's going on? Slug clone continued to guide, but at this moment, she suddenly discovered that Long Yi had clearly gathered a lot of natural energy around him, but he couldn't inhale it. Woo! Just when the slug clone was puzzled, Long Ya, who couldn't help but get restless because he couldn't absorb the natural energy, suddenly withdrew from that ethereal state. What happened? Looking at the sweaty dragon, the slug clone asked a question. Failed. Long also sighed and said something lightly. Because my qualifications are too poor. No, your understanding is the best I've ever seen. Entering an ethereal state is also the fastest. The slug clone shook his head, looked at Long Yi again, and couldn't help but ponder. I'm afraid there is another reason, but what is the reason? Whoops. The next moment, the slug cloned over and climbed straight onto Long Yi's body. Don't move, relax and let me check. Quote. Good. Being wrapped around a slippery slug is always a bit resistant, but hearing this, Long also took a deep breath and relaxed. The next moment, the slug clone emits a unique energy. The water flow slowly spreads over the dragon's body, and then soaks into it. Quote. So that's what it is. After a while, the slug clone faded from Long Yi. I found the reason. Slug clone nodded, looked at the dragon and said. Do you know that the meridians in your body are congenitally deformed? I know. Long didn't hide it either, and then he looked suspicious again. But what does it have to do with cultivating the immortal mode? Of course it does. The slug clone sounded serious, and then explained it in detail. Ordinary ninjutsu is formed by the fusion of body energy and spiritual energy into chakra, and then released through meridians in a specific path. Therefore, Long Yi has a congenital meridian malformation, which does not affect his production of chakra, but only affects his release of ninjutsu. But immortality is different. Not only must it be released through the meridians in a specific path, but the condensed chakra of the immortals must first pass through the meridians to absorb natural energy from the outside world. Because of the defects of the meridians, it is difficult for the dragon to even make the immortal chakra at the beginning. So it is. Long also suddenly realized, nodded, but not depressed. The meridian problem has existed for so many years, and he has already learned to accept it. It's just that it's more difficult to cultivate. Then it's the same as before, 10 times and 100 times the effort. Not the same. As if seeing through Long Yi's thoughts, the slug clone spoke again, with a very serious tone. Because making chakra and releasing ninjutsu all need to go through meridians, the difficulties you will face will be twice as high as before. Just twice as much. The most important thing is that because of the meridians, you can't control the amount of natural energy very well. If you exceed 11, this ratio, then you will be swallowed by natural energy. Quote. Hearing this, Long also frowned instantly. This is indeed different from before. As I said before, I want to become stronger and stronger, and in order to become stronger, I am willing to do my best. After pondering for a while, Long also spoke again, his tone unwavering. Even at the risk of life-threatening. You want to continue to practice. Long also said a word, then took a deep breath and slowly exhaled it, entered the ethereal state again, and continued to practice. Takagi Ryu also. Looking at Long Yi, who had gathered a lot of natural energy again, but couldn't absorb it into his body, his eyes were tightly closed, his forehead was dripping with sweat, his expression was extremely labored, and the slug clone could not help but lose his mind. Woo! After a while, the dragon also failed again, exiting from the ethereal state. But he was not discouraged in the slightest, and then he would practice again. Dragon also. At this time, the slug clone suddenly spoke. Actually, I can solve your meridian problem. Quote. Hearing this sentence, Long's eyes widened instantly, as if struck by lightning, he froze on the spot. You can solve my meridian problem. It wasn't until a long while ago that Long Yi suddenly came back to his senses, looking at the slug clone with excitement. Although he doesn't say it, only he knows how much this deformed meridian has caused him over the years. Today, the slug clone said, this problem can be solved, how can he not be excited? Yes. The slug clone nodded and said lightly. With my immortal body, integrate it into your body, and directly repair and correct those meridians. This is really good. The dragon was also excited again, and his tongue was even a little knotted. If you can really help me, I don't know how to thank you. This is of my own accord, and I don't need your thanks. Slug clone's tone was flat, but as she spoke, her body began to twist, and then she turned into a mature woman in her 20s. Long Yejin, please work harder for the next weekend. As she spoke, the woman who transformed into a slug's avatar went straight to Long Yi. Phailu reminds you, 3 things to read. 070. Fairy Mode. Through the method of Shuangshou, the own fairy body cells are directly integrated into the dragon's body, and the meridians are repaired and corrected. A month later, Long Yi's meridian defect was finally completely made up. Long Yi Jun, it's up to you to work hard. Because of the huge consumption, the slug clone that slipped from Long Yi's body, after saying a word, merged into the body of the slug fairy. Quote. Looking at the place where the slug clone disappeared, and the slug fairy as huge as the surrounding mountains, the dragon couldn't help but lose his mind. Logically speaking, all slug clones are split from the body, that is, part of the slug fairy. But the slug fairy, and the previous slug clone, gave Long Yi a completely different feeling, like 2 completely different people. The most direct point, the slug fairy called him Xiao Long Yi, and the slug clone called him Long Yejin. Could it be? Long couldn't help thinking, do all clones have their own independent consciousness? However, whether this is the case or not, it is not easy for Long to ask Slug Immortal for proof. And thinking that in the future, I don't know if I can see the previous slug clone again, and I can't help but feel a little sad. Forget it. It wasn't until a moment later that Long Yi got rid of his distracting thoughts and regained his energy. Then there was excitement on his face again. His meridian problem was finally completely resolved. From now on, he will no longer be that cultivation waste wood. 2 done. 2 luby. The dragon also quickly formed the seal, and clapped his hands on the ground with a loud shout. Boom! The next moment, with a roar, an earthen wall rose flat. Awesome! It's such a great feeling. Seeing the earth flow wall in front of him, the dragon was also excited again. Before he practiced hard for several months, the ground was only slightly shaking. Now that the meridian problem has been resolved, and the results of previous training have truly been revealed, this ninjutsu is a direct success. I have to say, as a person with normal cultivation talent, this feeling is really great. Takagi Ryuya level, upper ninja organs, ears, brain, heart, lungs skills. Earthen Wall Ninjutsu Millennium Kill Enhancement plus Level 86 Taijutsu Substitute Enhancement plus Level 86 Ninjutsu Drawing Sword Enhancement plus Level 86 Taijutsu Toad Oil Bomb Enhancement plus Level 64 Ninjutsu Konoha Whirlwind Enhancement plus Level 64 Ninjutsu Clone Technique Enhancement plus Level 86 Ninjutsu 4 Signs Seal Enhancement plus Level 64 Ninjutsu Great Fireball Technique Enhancement plus Level 86 Ninjutsu. At this time, look at the personal panel again, and the skill soil flow wall has appeared in it. Woo! After a while of excitement, Long also took a deep breath, spit it out slowly, forcibly calmed down his emotions, and continued to practice the immortal mode. The first is to let go of everything, enter an ethereal state, and then gather nature. When the natural energy around you reaches a certain level, it is absorbed into the body. The meridian problem is solved, which was originally an extremely difficult process for dragons. Now it has become very easy, almost no what an effort. Then, mix natural energy with physical and spiritual energy, and gradually increase the ratio of natural energy to reach 1:1. If the ratio of natural energy is too low, you cannot enter the fairy mode. If the ratio is too high, it will be affected by natural energy, devoured and turned into stone. Therefore, this process needs to be extremely delicate, and the dragon did not dare to be careless at first, and can only try a little bit. Because of the traveler, the soul is strong, and because the heart and lungs are strengthened, the physical quality is far superior to ordinary people. Therefore, the dragon is also in the body energy, and the spiritual energy are extremely huge. According to what the slug fairy said, such a huge number of chakras even far exceeded the small pillars of the year. And the amount of chakra itself is huge, so it will not be inadvertent, and the natural energy will exceed the proportion, so that it will be swallowed. To be said that this is a big advantage of Long Yi. In fact, the premise of cultivating the immortal mode is, the number of chakras must be enough. Although the meridian problem has been resolved, the cultivation of immortal art is just the beginning. Next, the dragon is also in the wet bone forest, concentrating on cultivation day after day. The time has come. This afternoon, the system's 6-day time limit has passed, and the dragon has once again obtained an opportunity to strengthen infinitely. Because of the gold enhancement, it has been used last time, so the next 5 opportunities can only be ordinary enhancement. Strengthen the earth flow wall. The dragon also seemed to have no other choice, and gave the order directly. The goal of this infinite strengthening, skill soil flow wall. As the host confirmed. OK. Unlimited enhancement starts. Target, skill earth flow wall. Soil wall enhancement +1, soil wall enhancement +2. Soil wall enhancement +10, range increase. Soil wall enhancement +11. Enhanced soil flow wall +10, thickness increased. Enhanced soil flow wall +10. Next, the system prompts sounded one after another, and the dragon also directly chose to shield, and continued to concentrate on cultivating the immortal mode. Time flies so fast, and days go by in a flash. This morning, the dragon also stood at the top of a big tree, on the branches as thin as chopsticks. Clap, put your hands together, and then drank softly. Fairy mode. Om. Then, around the eye sockets, 2 red striped eye shadows appeared, and in the middle of the forehead, a red circle with red dots appeared. This eyeshadow is exactly the same as that of the original Hokage 1000 Jujutsu, and it is exactly the feature of the perfect immortal mode of Shibone Forest. It's finally done. In addition to the change in appearance, the most important thing is that after gathering the immortal chakra in the body, whether it is perception or strength, all aspects have been greatly increased. Feeling the changes in his body, the dragon was also excited again. Woo! After a few minutes at this point, he exhaled and released the fairy mode. Although this state is powerful, it is also a lot of pressure because it requires constant concentration in the process to absorb natural energy and condense the immortal chakra. Therefore, even if you master the fairy mode, under normal circumstances, you will not maintain this state all the time. Immortal. Immediately afterwards, the dragon also sat on the ground, lost in thought. Have mastered the immortal mode. The next step is the use of immortal art. The biggest feature of the immortal mode is the power of the ascension technique. But Long Yi, who has a system by his side, has already strengthened all his skills 864 times, and his power is so strong that he doesn't need the immortal mode to increase at all. In this case, what is the use of his hard-working immortal mode? Of course it works. The actual mountain, in addition to the augmentation technique, the body function has also been greatly improved in the immortal mode. The body is the foundation of all techniques, and when this foundation is improved, the overall strength will also be greatly improved. Is it your own technique? Moreover, the dragon also had an idea at this time. With the help of the heart of the tail beast, and the chi and blood flow created by the 700 million giant lung, he also increased his body. In this case, can it be integrated with the fairy mode to develop his own art? Please download Feifei to read the underlined version of the novel. 071. Shinra Tianzheng. In a blink of an eye, it has been more than 10 days. Drink. At noon this day, a loud shout suddenly sounded in the forest of wet bones. The slug fairy was taking a nap, and when she heard the movement, she couldn't help but glance. I saw that the dragon also entered the fairy mode again, but what was different from usual was that at this time, the blood vessels of the dragon also burst out, forming dark red lines on the surface of the body. In addition, there is a strong airflow agitation all over the body. It's interesting. It seemed that this technique was finally completed. Slug Immortal smiled and continued her afternoon nap. Woo! After a while, the dragon also returned to his normal state, and he couldn't help gasping for breath. I have to say that although the surgery has been completed, the burden on the body is too great, even if he has the heart of a tailed beast, and 700 million giant lungs, he can't bear it. Sure enough. At the same time, Long also checked the personal panel, and there was no new technique developed by him in the skill bar. This technique is a fusion of chi and blood flow in immortal mode, but whether it is chi blood or immortal mode, its essence is closer to the refinement of energy, rather than the application. Just like ninjas usually extract chakra from physical energy and spiritual energy. According to the setting of fantasy novels, this is a practice method, not an enemy martial art, so it is not listed in the skill column. Since it is not in the skill bar, it cannot be strengthened through the system. I have to say, it's a pity. It's almost there. Immortal techniques have been practiced, and new techniques have been developed. Long couldn't help thinking, it's time to go back to Konoha. After being out for so long, I don't know how Konoha is doing now. Akatsuki has already started catching tailed beasts everywhere, and they may invade Konoha at any time. Boom! Just as Long was thinking, with a loud noise, the slug immortal suddenly twisted his huge body and turned his head to look at him. Quote. Long was also slightly startled, and couldn't help but have a bad feeling. Did something happen? Little Dragon 2. The slug fairy looked at Long Yi with a serious voice. Your battle is here. Half an hour ago, outside Konoha village. 6 people wearing fire cloud robes slowly walked out of the bushes. It was Pen Lu Dao. Whoosh! Powered by Shira Dao, the beast Dao is like a cannonball and is thrown directly into the sky above Konoha village. Pung! And at the moment of landing, the animal Daoshu directly summoned the other 555 pain to the village. Forcibly invaded. Successful. There is an intruder. The target is one person, at the point. As a large hidden village, Konoha has a perfect defense system. Periphery of the village, there is actually a huge barrier open all the time, which can instantly sense the direction of the intruder. The moment the animal world touched the barrier, Konoha noticed it, and immediately dispatched ninjas to block and arrest it. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. At this time, the 6 paths of pain have spread out in the village and started to act. Run. The Asura Road, the Hungry Ghost Road, and the animal road are responsible for creating riots. Wherever they go, there are huge explosions and terrifying psychic beasts. Buildings were destroyed and civilians panicked and fled everywhere. Help! Heaven, the Tao of humanity, and the Tao of hell are in charge of the search. Under the cover of the riot, they catch some civilians or ninjas, directly extract and invade the memory, and find the location of Naruto. Over here. Why so many? Konoha side responded quickly, and the enchantment class had already arrived. But when I found out that the intruder was not alone, I couldn't help but have a surprise. I knew that their strength alone could not compete with them, so I rushed to report to Hokage and seek support. Stop. In addition to Konoha's defense system, there are other ninjas who didn't have a mission, and happened to be in the village at this time. When the riots were discovered, they also came spontaneously. Kakashi, Asuma and others happened to meet Pain Tiandao and directly fought with him. Damn. In Hokage's office, he got a report from his subordinates and saw the chaos in the village. His face was full of anger. At the same time, immediately deploy combat power and go to various places to support. Is Pain. According to the situation reported by the enchantment class, combined with the information provided by Long also before, it can be basically determined that the intruder this time is the leader of the Shao organization, Pain. As the leader of the Shao organization, Pain's ability is extremely powerful. A lot of information provided by the dragon is about its abilities. With some precautions, the threat can't help being much smaller. Moreover, although Kaiban was not in the village at this time, Kakashiban and Esmaban were all there, and there were some special Junin. With these powers, it should be enough to protect the village. Besides, Pain's target is Naruto, but Naruto is not in Konoha at this time, so there is no need to worry too much. Go and inform various famous families to see if they can deploy some combat power to jointly defend against Pain. After a while, Tsunade ordered again. After the ninja who sent the order hurriedly left, Tsunade secretly breathed a sigh of relief. This should be all right. What? But unfortunately, Pain's strength has far exceeded Tsunade's expectations. After more than 20 minutes of his invasion, Tsunade suddenly got a report that Kakashi was seriously injured and withdrew from the battlefield. In fact, if Asuma hadn't sold it in time, Konoha's famous copy ninja, I am afraid he has already sacrificed. Lord Hokage. Just when Tsunade was surprised, people came one after another to report. Pain's ability is too powerful, and the Konoha ninja has been severely damaged. Damn. Tsunade's face was full of anger, and then he couldn't help sighing. It seemed that he had no choice but to call the dragon back. Immediately afterwards, Tsunade used a psychic technique to channel the slug into a clone. Then, through the clone, contact the slug fairy, let her notify Long Yi, and prepare for the reverse channeling. No, not enough. Truly aware of Pain's terrifying strength, Tsunade frowned again. I'm afraid it's not enough to just call back to the dragon. Immediately afterwards, he ordered someone to inform the messenger frog and let him inform Naruto of Meow Mushin to return to Konoha together to fight against Pain. PFF'd. But what Tsunade didn't know was that, when the order frog was about to return to Meowmu Mountain, a knife suddenly appeared and stabbed him to death. What does he want to do? Just after Tsunade delivered the news, 555 Pain suddenly withdrew from Konoha, and only one remained, floating above Konoha. Let the world feel Pain again. Who flew high in the sky, pointed his hands below, and shouted suddenly. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Not good. Whether it was Tsunade or Konoha, everyone looked up at the sky, and their expressions changed instantly. Although I don't know what kind of ninjutsu Pain is going to use, the power is definitely not small. And most importantly, Pain's target was clearly the entire Konoha village. 2 Done. Earth flow wall. And at this moment, a loud shout suddenly sounded. Phailu reminds you. 3 things to read. 072. The strongest shield. 2 Done. Earth flow wall. Wow. With a loud shout, I saw a huge earth wall with a width of several thousand meters suddenly raised on the edge of the village. When it reached a height of 100 meters, it suddenly folded in the direction of the village, just like a strangely shaped umbrella, directly supporting the sky above the village. Boom! And the next moment, the huge impact fell, just landed on the earth wall, making a loud noise like the sky and the earth cracking, and the entire Konoha village shook violently. Boom! Boom! Immediately afterwards, the aftermath of the impact blocked by the earth wall dispersed. Hit the surrounding areas of the village, the mountain collapsed, and a large forest was destroyed. Again, there was a loud roar. In Konoha village, the ninjas and ordinary civilians under the earthen wall looked at the earthen wall that trembled slightly above their heads and shook off some dust amid this terrifying momentum. Shenluo Tianzheng. Gradually coming back to his senses, I think of the power of the impact just now. If there is no such earth wall, if it falls directly to the ground, I am afraid. I am afraid that the entire Konoha will cease to exist. Thinking of this, even Tsunade, who is Hokage, is also afraid of falling into the ground. Instantly his face turned pale. No wonder Pain yelled, "Let the world feel pain again." At the same time, I can't help but feel fortunate that this earth wall is too timely. Wait, earth flow wall. Thinking of this, I looked up at the sky again, that kilometer wide, 100 meters high, and the odd thing bent at a right angle, was Tuliubi, blocking my Shenluo Tianzheng. In fact, not only Tsunade and Konoha ninjas, but at this time, somewhere outside Konoha village, Pain's body and door, which were hidden by the technique of Xiaonanshan's paper maker, were also full of sluggishness. He concentrated all the chakras of Pain's 6 paths on Tiandao, and did not hesitate to consume his own life. The super ninjutsu he launched was actually blocked by a mere earth wall. For a time, everyone couldn't help it. I wondered who it was just now who shouted so irresponsibly. He is Dragon too. Immediately afterwards, looking at the source of the shouting just now, Tsunade and the others were stunned for a moment, and then their faces were full of excitement and joy. On the roof of a high-rise building is none other than Takagi Ryuya. Great, he's back. Seeing that it was Ryuya, Tsunade was excited again. Konoha's hero finally came back. At the same time, he suddenly believed that umbrella-like weird thing was the dirt wall. After all, Ryuya's ninjutsu is always so unexpected. Woo! At the same time, Long Yi, who seemed to be standing proudly, was in fact secretly sweating and fortunately caught up. After getting the news of the slug fairy, the dragon did it immediately. But he never imagined that, just after being reverse-channeled, Pain shouted out that classic line, and then Shenluo Tianzheng took the lead. If Pain's move fell, the whole village would definitely be the same as the original. Turned into rubble. The most important thing is that the dragon is still there. Down below, if you are lucky, you will break a few bones. So, when Pain said, "Let the world feel pain again," the dragon began to seal the spell. When Pain released Shinra Tenjin, his ninjutsu was also activated at the same time. After 864 times of strengthening, the volume of the earth-escaped earth flow wall has been greatly increased, the thickness has been greatly increased, and the hardness has been greatly improved, and it can be blocked in multiple directions. As for how strong it is, as long as it is ninjutsu, it can basically be blocked, such as the tailed beast jade, the Shenluo Tianzheng, etc. At this time, I have to say that as a ninjutsu, the infinitely strengthened soil wall can be called the real, strongest shield. Pain. At this time, Pain's heavenly Tao had already fallen from the sky, and it was falling on the earth wall supported by the dragon. Whoosh! The dragon didn't hesitate, just moved a stand-in and jumped onto the earth wall. As far as Long also knew, the Shinra Tianzheng just now not only consumed a huge amount of chakra, but Pain Tiandao would be unable to perform ninjutsu for a period of time. Among the 6 ways of pain, the way of heaven that controls gravity and repulsion is the most difficult to deal with. Taking advantage of his illness to kill him, Pain Tiandao can't perform ninjutsu at this time, it is the best time to deal with him. Whoosh swish. The next moment, the dragon did not hesitate at all, raising his hand is. A few kunai shoot, want to use this to make a substitute displacement, approach and kill Pain Tiandao. Dang dang dang. But the next moment, with a series of soft noises, all kunai were swept away before they approached Pain's heavenly Dao. Immediately after looking at it, the other 5 pains have also appeared on the soil wall. Looking at the other 555 pain who protected heaven, Long also flashed their specific ability information in his mind, and couldn't help frowning secretly. I have to say that even if Tiandao can't use ninjutsu temporarily, the other 5 pain will be extremely difficult to deal with. In this case, the most appropriate thing was to jump into the sky and shoot a nuclear fireball at the 6 of them. Anyway, the soil flow wall is blocked, and the top of the leaves is mostly affected by small waves. But no, because the hungry ghost has the ability to absorb chakra and ninjutsu. Even Long Yi's nuclear fireball would be absorbed by him. Swish swish swish. Anyway, after hitting him first, the dragon also raised his hand and shot out a few kunai. But it wasn't a move, it was just ordinary harassment, and then it rushed straight up. Because of the hungry ghost realm, he can only use physical attacks for the time being. Lord Hokage, do you want to help out? The village below, some Konoha ninjas could not help but look anxious when they saw Ryuya, who had already fought with Penludao. Don't. Tsunade's face was solemn, and she categorically refused. This is no longer a battle that ordinary people can participate in. If we go up, we will only drag the dragon down. But Hokage. Boom. Some people are not convinced and want to ask again. And at this moment, with a loud noise, I saw one. The size of a house, a psychic beast, which was directly kicked down by the dragon and flew down the earth wall, crashing into a hill outside the village. Seeing this scene, everyone opened their mouths and said nothing. Tsunade is right, there is no room for them to intervene in this level of battle. Boom, boom, one after another, he kicked several monsters from the beast Dao, and the dragon couldn't help but have a headache when he saw that the beast Dao was still channeling out. Then he dodged, temporarily withdrew from the battle, looked at Penludao in front of him, and frowned again. To be said that there are originally 666 individuals, and in the case of shared vision, the cooperation is almost seamless. Long Yi's physical skills are not weak, plus the 10,000-ton whirlwind, the displacement of the substitute, it is not cheap at all. And as time passed by, once Tiandao regained his ninjutsu ability, it would be even more troublesome. Blood fairy mode. Battle must be resolved quickly. Long also had a serious expression, and then gave a low drink. 073. Chi and blood. Fairy mode. Is it fairy mode? Pain had also seen the fairy mode, and when he saw the changes in Long Yi, he couldn't help but be vigilant. No. But in addition to Ice Shadow, the dragon's blood vessels burst out, and his whole body was full of energy. Little different from the normal immortal mode, and it feels sharper. Swish swish swish. At this moment, the dragon also raised his hand, and several kunai shot out. Humph. Pain sneered at the corner of his mouth. Even if he transformed, he would still restore those tricks. Tiandao hid behind. Other pain resisted, and sent countless sufferings flying. Fire escape. The art of fireball. And at this moment, with the dragon's loud shout, I saw a huge fireball with a diameter of nearly 100 meters, which had already whistled and flew over. In the fairy mode, the chakra in the body changes, so many techniques have also made breakthroughs. For example, the technique of how fireball, after strengthening, can only release the kind of nuclear fireball with a terrifying size. But in the fairy mode, you can control the volume freely. In the face of such a huge fireball, Pain did not dare to neglect. The hungry ghost rogue, who was in charge of defense, stood in front of him, and directly activated his ability to absorb it. Whoosh! When the hungry ghost Dao absorbed the fireball, the dragon also rushed up and went straight to Tiandao Pain in the back row. The hungry ghost Dao can absorb ninjutsu, and of course the dragon knew that the arrogant fireball just now was only blocking his line of sight. For the purpose of raiding. So fast. Seeing Long Yi, who had already rushed over, Pain couldn't help being surprised. At this time, Long Yi's speed was several times faster than before. While surprised, he couldn't help but wonder, is this the strength of Long Yi's immortal mode? What Pain didn't know was that it wasn't just the immortal mode, but also chi and blood flow. When cultivating in the Shibone forest, the dragon also perfected the chi and blood flow, making the increase from 3 times to 5 times. After the chi and blood flow was perfected, then merge with the fairy mode to create a new technique. In addition to special abilities, the increase in the body alone has exceeded 10 times. That is to say, the speed of Long Yi at this time is 10 times faster than before. Even without the use of avatar displacement, the speed is astounding, and ordinary people can only see some afterimages. With the help of visual sharing and the powerful observation of Samsara Eye, Pain was able to capture Long Yi's movements. Get out of here. 3 Pain, who rushed forward at the same time, Long also shouted loudly. Noba Whirlwind. The power of Long Yi's kicking technique is terrifying, and Pain has long been afraid of it, so when he used this move, he quickly backed away to dodge. Bang, 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 but the next moment, what Pain never expected was that he was kicked out of the way of Asura, the way of human beings, and the way of beasts. But fortunately, although this kick is extremely heavy, it is far inferior to Long Yi's original kicking skills. So, the 3 Pains were just kicked out, but not destroyed. As that gas. The Tiandao Pain in the back has been watching, through the eyes of reincarnation, when the dragon also performed the kicking technique just now. There was an air current wrapped around his legs, and it was this air current that hit the 3 graces. The chi and blood flow of Long Yi mainly relies on the 700 million giant lungs, the heart of the tailed beast, and the use of chi and blood. After integrating the immortal mode, the chi that originally flowed in the body can already be surrounded by the outside. The immortal chakra is mixed in the breath, just like an invisible armor and weapon. Unfortunately, the amount of chi is limited, so the scope of extension is also limited. And after all, it is an air current, which cannot reach the original terrifying power of Long Yi Konoha Whirlwind. That's enough, though. In fact, the whole thing happens in an instant. Hungry Ghost Dao had just absorbed the Hao fireball, and it was difficult for him to come back for a while, and the other 3 Pain were kicked away by Long Yi. The only one who can protect Tiandao Pain is the Hell Road in the last row. Who has not recovered yet and cannot use ninjutsu, can't help but frown. Then he quickly stepped back, trying to distance himself from the dragon. At the same time, the front tune of Hell in the back row helped to temporarily resist Long Yi. Hey. Seeing this scene, Long also suddenly smiled. Whoosh. The next moment, Long Yi, who had gone straight to heaven, disappeared instantly. This is. Pain was stunned for a moment, and suddenly there was a feeling in his heart, a bad premonition. Whoosh. The next moment, the dragon also appeared again, but it was already behind the Hell Realm. Oops. Under the shared vision, Pain discovered that where the Hell Path passed just now, there was a kunai that had been left behind. Noba Whirlwind. At this time, the dragon has also shot, and the shot is ruthless. Bang! Only a muffled sound was heard, and the Hell Realm was directly smashed on the earth wall. Boom! Under the mighty force, even the solid earth wall cannot help shaking violently, shaking off countless dust. The Konoha crowd below saw this scene, and their faces were full of panic again. Great! Kill one. On the other side, Tsunade and the others, who had been paying close attention to the battle, were excited to see that Long had finally defeated a Pain. Pain's strength, they have learned something before. Looking at Long Yi's figure at this time, I couldn't help thinking, worthy of being the hero of Konoha. At the same time, looking at Long Yi who defeated the Hell Realm, Pain's face was particularly gloomy. Your goal, from the very beginning, is the realm of Hell. That's right. Long also smiled and did not hide it. As Pain said, his goal from the beginning was hell, not heaven. Among Pain's 6 paths, heaven is indeed the most powerful and the most troublesome. At this time, the way of heaven, who cannot use ninjutsu for the time being, is indeed the weakest. But Long also knew that if he didn't knock down the hell realm first, let alone the heaven realm, even if he knocked down all the other 555 Pain, it would be useless. Because hell can summon and control the king of hell, in addition to reconnaissance, confession, there is also a special ability, swallowing and chewing the damaged Pain. You can restore it. Therefore, as long as the hell realm is not defeated, the rest of the Pain can be resurrected no matter how many times they are defeated. The battle was successful. In order to give priority to solving the hell realm, Long also deliberately pretended that the target was the realm of heaven, and then took advantage of the kunai that had been deliberately spread before, seized the opportunity to move, and knocked it down in one fell swoop. I can assume that you already know all my abilities. Pain, who also wanted to understand this, looked at the dragon and said something, although it was a bit unbelievable, but the truth is probably like this. After all, if it wasn't for the ability to know the realm of hell, it wouldn't take so much trouble to solve it first. In fact, Long also knew his abilities, which Pain should have thought of long ago. Because from the very beginning, the dragon has been rushing to attack the way of heaven, which means that the dragon knows that the way of heaven is the most difficult, and he can't use ninjutsu at this time. Since the dragon also knows the ability of the way of heaven, then the other Pain's information naturally also has possibly mastered. I have to say that Long also acted very well, but Pain was really careless. You don't have a chance next time. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Thinking of this, Pain's face sank, and the next moment, Tiandao also stretched out his hand to the dragon, that is. A loud shout. After this period of time, his ninjutsu finally recovered. Fei Lu reminds you. 3 things to read. 074. You don't know enough about my abilities. Shen Luo Tianzheng belongs to the ability of Pain's Samsara Eye, and there is no need to seal it instantly. Although Long Yi's earth flow wall can block it, it is too late. You can only take a blocking stance and focus your chi in front of you at the same time. Bang! Immediately afterwards, only a dull loud noise was heard, and the dragon was shot and flew out. Step, but the next moment, when it fell to the ground, there was no injury. Besides, attack, is there any defense? Samsara can see clearly, the chi around Long Yi is like a shield, buffering his Shen Luo Tianzheng. You could call it, armed domineering. Long also smiled, the defense of chi is limited, but fortunately, the power of Tiandao just now Shen Luo Tianzheng is not too big. Armed domineering. Pain pondered a little, and couldn't help frowning. Weird name. Then what do you think of, Lu Ying? Don't make fun of me. At this time, Long also discussed the name of the move with him, and Pain was instantly furious. This was contempt for him. Spirituality. And at this moment, the animal road shouted and summoned the psychic beast again. Of the animal realm is spiritism, which is the main task in the 6 realms of Pain. Quack quack. But this time, it's not monsters like giant rhinos, crabs, 3-headed dogs, but a group of crows. Although it also has black sticks and reincarnation eyes, its size is no different from that of ordinary crows, but there are many. Just as the dragon is also surprised, how the animal way has changed its taste. Group of crows had already rushed over under her control. Quack quack. The next moment, the dragon was also engulfed by the crow in an instant. Does it block the view? These crows, although small in size, have extremely sharp beaks and claws. However, Long also mobilized his breath to protect his whole body, and he couldn't hurt him. Long also thought that the real intention of the crows should be to block his sight. Thinking of this, Long couldn't help but smile. Xiao also has a lot of information about Long Yi, but they don't know that Long Yi also has a hidden ability, that is, the radar ear. This trick covers the line of sight and may be effective for others, but Long also can easily control it by listening to the sound. Pain's movement. Come on. At this time, he clearly heard that Pain had surrounded him. Just right. Long was not worried, but secretly proud. Shen Luo Tianzheng. And at this moment, there was a light drink, and then, a huge force slammed into Long Yi. The dragon didn't dodge either, but was still buffered by the airflow, and was knocked out just like that. Clap. The next moment, with a soft sound, I was directly locked by the hungry ghost waiting behind. Quack. The battle was successful. The next moment, the crow. Huh. Seeing Long Yi being caught, Pain snorted softly. Dragon also knows what his abilities are, and there are some methods that he cannot overcome. For example, in the way of hungry ghosts, in addition to absorbing ninjutsu, you can also absorb other people's chakras by touching. The dragon has been firmly locked. Yi's hungry ghost realm is rapidly absorbing Long Yi's chakra at this time. As long as the chakra is exhausted, the dragon is also finished. Kacha. Just when Pain was complacent, what he never expected was that hungry ghost Dao's body suddenly turned to petrification. The next moment, it has completely turned into a stone statue. You already know, I know your abilities. But unfortunately, you don't know enough about my abilities. Long Yi's mouth smirked, and with a little force, he broke the arm of hungry ghost Dao Shihua and broke free from the lock. Absorbing ninjutsu and chakra, it is not easy to attack from a distance and close combat, and the hungry ghost is mainly responsible for defense, and the physical skills are not weak, which is really tricky. But there is one thing, he can't adjust the natural energy without being immortal mode. Therefore, when the hungry ghosts absorb his chakra, a large amount of natural energy is sent into his body, so that it is swallowed by the natural energy and turned into stone. This is, in the original book, Naruto's tactics against hungry ghosts. I have to say, it's really useful. You will pay for your arrogance. Seeing another one being beaten down, especially when he heard the dragon's self-righteous argument, Pain, who claimed to be a god, became more and more angry. Then he extended his hand to the dragon. Vientian Tianian. This is. The next moment, a huge gravitational force came, which directly pulled Long Yi's body and flew out. Tiandao Pain's ability is to manipulate gravity and repulsion, so in addition to the Shenluo Tianzheng that repels everything, there is also the Vientian Tianian that attracts everything. At this time, you can only be slaughtered. Seeing Long Yi being dragged into the air, Pain sneered. Even if the dragon is powerful, what can he do when he has nowhere to borrow in midair? PFF'd. At the same time, Shira Road was already approaching, and a wide iron sawtooth flew out from his back, instantly penetrating Long Yi's chest. Paths of Asura and Pain, he who also served as the main attack mission, was actually a transformed puppet with various weapons in his body. You're done. Penetrating Long Yi with a saw blade, Pain hummed indifferently. Really? And at this moment, Long also raised his head suddenly, and there was a slight smile on the corner of his mouth. You. Seeing this scene, Pain's face changed instantly. This kind of fatal injury, no matter how Long seems to have nothing to do, is he, like Feijuan, immortal, but how is it possible? I said. At this time, the dragon also jumped up, facing the Asura Dao in front of him. With a heavy kick. You don't know enough about my abilities. Boom. The next moment, under the cyclone of 10,000 tons, the Asura Road was instantly scrapped. Boom. At this time, I pulled out the broken saw blade from my body and threw it on the ground. The Chi and Blood Immortal mode, in addition to manipulating Chi, there is also blood. In this mode, the dragon can also transport the huge vitality of the heart of the tail beast to all parts of the body through blood. It was also the reason why his blood vessels burst out. Therefore, no matter what kind of injury he suffers, as long as the blood passes through, he can quickly heal himself. In this way, although it is not a real immortal body, it is not too much. It is similar to Tsunade's 100 strokes. But it still hurts. where it was penetrated just now. With the rapid flow of blood, it has basically healed. Knock another one down. Defeat 2 in a row. Have knocked down 3 threes. At the same time, everyone in Konoha, who had been closely watching the battle, couldn't help but feel excited again. 666 pain, half of them have been killed, and now there are only 3 3s left. As for the dragon that was penetrated through the body just now, why did not die, everyone seems to automatically ignore it. After all, there is nothing impossible for a monster like Ryuya. Damn. Who was in high spirits, Pain was completely angry, and then roared, and the remaining 3 rushed up together. Hey hey. Long also smiled and greeted him directly. 075, beat Pain 6 paths. Ooh. After a round of intense close combat, the two sides separated. The animal Dao once again summoned a large number of huge psychic beasts, let out a fierce roar, and rushed straight to Long Yi. Fire escape. Huge fire. The dragon also quickly formed the seal, and then shouted loudly. More than a dozen huge fireballs with a diameter of over 100 meters flew towards Pain randomly, and those psychic beasts. Huo Luanzhuan is also the development and deformation of the Huo Huajuo technique by Long Yi in the immortal mode. Boom, boom, boom. Then, in the midst of a loud roar, those psychic beasts were instantly blown away. Quote. In Konoha village, listening to the deafening loud roar, and watching the battle on the Tuliu wall, everyone was stunned. At this moment, I couldn't help but remember what Tsunade said at the beginning, this is no longer a battle they can intervene in. Whoosh! Under the cover of the firelight, the dragon moved again, and this time, it went directly to the side of the animal realm. When he was dodging just now, although Pain deliberately paid attention to the kunai on the ground, to prevent the dragon from moving close. But it is precisely because he pays too much attention to these kunais that he ignores other things, such as the corpses of the 3 Pain who were knocked down. Long Yi's substitute technique is not just for kunai and stones. As long as the weight is 11 kilograms, there is no subjective conscious objects can be replaced. Just now, in order to avoid Long Yi's arrogant fire, the animal path just happened to be next to the scattered parts of the Shira path. Noba whirlwind. Boom. As the dragon shouted loudly, followed by a loud roar, the animal path was also kicked directly on the earth wall. In fact, Long Yi knocked down the other 3 Pain before. Instead of kicking them away, he deliberately stayed on the Tuliu wall, in order to act as a substitute for his displacement. Pong pong pong. After the animal Dao was defeated, the psychic beasts he summoned disappeared instantly. It's finally quiet. When the scene was cleared in an instant, the dragon couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. Then he looked at the only remaining heavenly Dao and human Dao, and smiled again. Heaven is powerful, but it is not invulnerable. In the human world, in addition to good physical skills, there are only techniques to detect memory and extract souls, which can be said to be purely auxiliary abilities for investigation. At this time, Long Yi believed that he had the chance to win. Tatata. And at this moment, the human Dao did not hesitate at all, and rushed directly to Long Yi. Have you given up on yourself? The dragon also smiled lightly, and directly greeted him. Bang bang bang. The next moment, the two of them fought together. To be said that the physique of the human world is wrong. But unfortunately, in the face of Long Yi in Chi and Blood Immortal mode, he is not an opponent at all. Boom. After a while, with a loud noise, the dragon didn't even use the Konoha whirlwind, and punched him directly to the ground. 5th. In this way, there is only the last heaven's way left in the 6 paths of pain. Although the god of heavens Shen Luo Tianzheng has both offensive and defensive capabilities, this technique also has a fatal disadvantage, that is, it takes 5 seconds to cool down after each use. 5 seconds, the time is not long, but as long as you grasp it properly, it is enough to win. The dragon is also full of energy, and is ready to rush to heaven. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, a huge gravitational force suddenly came from overhead. Even the impregnable earth wall was shaking violently. Whoa, whoa. At the same time, other Pain's corpses were instantly sucked into the sky. Quote. That is Wanxiang Tianian, of Tiandao again. Long also raised his head subconsciously, only to see a small black ball floating in the sky above his head, and his face changed greatly. What is that? At the same time, the people in Konoha also saw the little black balls, and they were all terrified. This small black ball is like a black hole with a huge gravitational force. Although it can't suck up the soil flow wall, it sucks up a lot of stones and trees from the bottom of the soil flow wall and other places around it, and quickly gathers to the small black ball. Run! Buildings in the village were attracted, roofs collapsed, walls cracked, and a large number of civilians panicked. Did the earth explode the stars? Long also frowned, looking at Tiandao who had retreated into the distance, and couldn't help frowning. It turns out that human Dao rushed towards him just now, not because of self-abandonment, but to create a chance for Tiandao to unleash the star. Long also sighed secretly, knocked down 444 Pain in succession, and he also swelled. At this time, the suction of the little black ball is getting stronger and stronger, and the dragon can no longer support it. Humph. Immediately afterwards, Long also hummed softly, and simply stopped resisting, instead jumping hard, following the suction force, and rushing directly to the little black ball. He's going to. Seeing Long Yi who suddenly took the initiative to rush towards the little black ball, Tiandao couldn't help but froze for a moment, and then his face changed greatly. Noba whirlwind. The next moment, when he was next to the little black ball, Long also shouted violently, that is. Kicked it up. 10,000 tons of strength, concentrated in a single explosion. Boom. Under the huge impact, the small black ball exploded and shattered in an instant with a loud noise like the sky and the earth cracking. Boom, 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 and after the small black ball was destroyed, the gravity disappeared, and all the things that were sucked into the air fell back to the ground. The earth-blasting star is really powerful, but like the little black ball of a black hole, it is its destiny. As long as it is broken, the gravitational force will disappear naturally. Of course, this point is not seen by the dragon, but analyzed by Itachi in the original work. Damn! Even the earth blast star was cracked. Tiandao snorted coldly, turned around and fled. In fact, the 6 paths of pain are all Nagato's puppets. Even if they are all knocked down and destroyed, it doesn't matter to Nagato. If he finds another 6 corpses, he can make a new 6 paths of pain. But only the way of heaven is different for Nagato. Of Tiandao was made by Yahiko and his close friend Yahiko. Therefore, other pens can be destroyed, but this heavenly Dao cannot. HMPH. Looking at the direction of Tiandao's escape, Long also snorted, but did not chase. For Nagato, the way of heaven has a special meaning. But to Long Yi, it was just a corpse puppet. PFF'd. Falling to the ground again, Long also picked up the little black stick on Pain's body and inserted it directly into his palm. This little black stick is exactly the chakra receiver that Nagato controls Pen's 6 paths. Found it. Through the immortal mode, Ryuya's perception ability is greatly improved, and through this method, you can find the Nagato who secretly performed magic in reverse. After confirming Nagato's hiding place, Long did not hesitate at all, and immediately ran. Instead of chasing a puppet, it's better to kill Pain's body directly. Philo reminds you. Book 3 Things to Read. 076. Transformation, complete. Found it. Outside Konoha village, in a dense forest, looking at a big tree not far ahead, the dragon couldn't help but smile. According to the perception just now, Pain's body, Nagato, is hiding inside this big tree. Fire escape. Courageous fire. Approached, he quickly formed the seal, thinking that he would throw a nuclear fireball at him first. Whoa, and at this moment, the big tree suddenly turned white. It turned out to be a stack of sheets of white paper. The papers flew away quickly, and Nagato and Conan, who were hiding inside, also appeared in front of Long Yi. Not good. But in addition to the two of them, there is one other person, wearing a threaded monocular mask, which is Obito, who incarnates Madara Uchiha. At this time, Obito has already exerted his power, which is unique to his kaleidoscope writing wheel eye ability. As the space distorted, he, Nagato, and Conan were sucked in three and disappeared directly from the place. Before leaving, Xiaonan stared at Long Yi, his eyes full of resentment. Damn. Seeing that Obito took the lead and rescued Nagato, Long was also annoyed. Nagato's immortality is a hidden danger after all. But speaking of it, Nagato has successively used the super large-scale Shen Luo Tianzheng, and the Earth Blast Star. Considering his weak body, there should be no more any action in a short period of time. Never mind. It's really a pity that Nagato was not completely eradicated. But fortunately, Konoha was preserved, and it was lucky. Nagato had already retreated, and the dragon sighed in relief, turning his head to return to Konoha. Pung! At this moment, with a muffled sound, three huge toads suddenly appeared on the earth flow wall. On the head of Toad Wentai, a young man stood on his hips. It was Naruto Uzumaki, who had entered the fairy mode with a huge scroll on his back. Kakashi was seriously injured before. Konoha Ninja was severely injured by pain. Tsunade immediately ordered to recall cultivation of Dragon and Naruto. But the messenger frog, who was in charge of communicating Naruto, was killed by Danzo hiding in the dark when he set off. As a character in the same period as Sandai Hokage, Sandai is a leaf bathing in the sun, and Danzo is a root buried deep in the ground. He would do anything for Konoha. Because the messenger frog was killed, Naruto didn't get the news in time. But in the same way, because the messenger frog was killed and the name was reported from the scroll, Meow Mushin was worried that there was something wrong with Konoha. So after some deliberation, I decided to send Naruto back. I thought it was expected by many people, and Naruto deliberately put on a handsome appearance. But at this time, a gust of wind blew, and there was no one there. Konoha does show signs of being attacked, but it seems to have subsided. I'm late. Naruto was startled. Was he late? Looking at the empty village, I can't help but wonder again, where is, hero of Konoha? Takagi Ryuya. But at this moment, suddenly heard the face, thunderous cheers. Naruto looked up and saw that everyone in the village had gathered outside the village, and a figure was thrown high into the air. Dragon. Naruto narrowed his eyes, and when he saw it clearly, his face was instantly annoyed. Damn it, I lost to him again. But no matter. This Konoha crisis has been completely resolved. Next, everything will return to calm. Transformation. This morning, by the riverside of Konoha, the dragon was also practicing. Pung. With a light sound, it directly turned into the appearance of Hinata. Well, not bad. I took a picture of the river, and it was exactly the same. But speaking of it, Hinata is only 16 years old, so she is very well nourished, and she deserves to be the eldest lady of the Hinata clan. During the practice in the Wet Bone Forest, the dragon not only learned the immortal mode, but also developed new techniques. The most important point is that he has completely solved the problem of meridians. In order to test his current talent, he is also a bit obsessive, so he chose the only transformation technique taught by the ninja school. I didn't expect to try it only once, and it would be perfect. I have to say that Long Yi's aptitude has indeed improved. Of course, the most important thing is that this is super ninjutsu after all. After learning all kinds of high-difficulty ninjutsu, it is naturally much easier to go back and learn this low-level ninjutsu. Not bad. Pung. There was another muffled sound, and it changed back to its original appearance again, and the dragon couldn't help nodding secretly. Reason why I deliberately turned around and practiced the transformation technique, in addition to the obsessive-compulsive disorder of getting together the three-body technique, there is also a fundamental reason. The transformation technique is really practical. Although it is a ninjutsu, it can be selected by the ninja school, teaching all students, it shows its value. Moreover, the changing appearance is not only sneaking into the reconnaissance, but also specifying various more flexible tactics in actual combat. Naruto, for example, does this very well. Of course, dragons don't just refer to seduction. Next step. Transformation technique can only be regarded as a warm-up. After practicing, Long also sat down and thought about his next practice. Suits you is the best, and the ninjutsu developed by yourself is undoubtedly the most suitable. So Long is also prepared to continue to develop chi and blood in depth. But what exactly should he do next? He has not thought about it for a while. Since I don't have a good idea, I might as well learn from other ninjutsu, as the so-called stone of the mountain can attack jade. 8-door Dunjia. The first thing that Long Yi thought of was the 8-door Dunjia formation, which can also improve physical attributes and also be used in taijutsu. Not good. But thinking about it again, Long couldn't help shaking his head again. Baman Dunjia is indeed powerful, but it is a little bit different from his chi and blood flow. Insist on putting the two together, it may be counterproductive. Magic. After a while, Long also thought of another ninjutsu, and his spirit was shocked. Magical power is a ninjutsu that concentrates a little chakra and releases it instantly to achieve huge destructive power. It is said to be ninjutsu, but it does not require seals. The situation is similar to taijutsu. To be precise, it should be called ninjutsu. Long Yi's chi and blood flow, the next development direction should be the mobilization of chi. Of chakra is worth learning from. If you can learn the magic, and integrate its skills into the blood flow. Long also believes that there will be another breakthrough. Go. The magic power is only a ninjutsu of the level but not the public ninjutsu of the village. Therefore, even if you are already a joinin, if you want to learn, you must be taught by the owner. And as the ability of the Thousand Hands clan, the current holder is Tsunade. Ryu also got up and went directly to the Hokage office. 077. 5 Shadows Conference. You came just in time, and I was about to send someone to find you. Find me. Long Yi, who had just entered the door, couldn't help being stunned. First of all, I have a message for you. Tsunade suddenly became serious and said in a deep voice. Sasuke Uchiha, killed Itachi Uchiha. ... Long also widened his eyes instantly, and then frowned again. When is the matter? Just a few days before Pain attacked Konoha. ... Long was also silent for a while, thinking that it was no wonder. Itachi, as Konoha's ninja, was charged with killing the Uchiha family. In fact, it was because Uchiha wanted to rebel and start a civil war. Slaughtered his family in order to protect the village. By the way, it's a real wolf. Even if he betrayed the name of defecting because of this, and was hated by his favorite younger brother, Itachi still guarded the village with all his heart. Before Pain attacked, Long was also surprised. How could Itachi, who is also in Akatsuki's organization, let this happen? It turned out that he was killed by Sasuke a few days ago. Although the butterfly effect is terrible, some things are destined to happen, such as Itachi's final death in the assistant. As soon as Itachi died, Pain attacked Konoha. I have to say, it was really impatient. After Uchiha Sasuke killed Uchiha Itachi, he joined the Akatsuki organization instead. At this time, Tsunade said again. ... The dragon didn't speak either, just sighed secretly. It seems that, like the original, Obito has already told Sasuke everything about Itachi. And Sasuke, who knows the truth, will inevitably pass on the hatred of the extermination of the family and the grievances of Itachi to Konoha. It is not difficult to predict that in the near future, Sasuke may harm Konoha. Sasuke's first mission after joining Akatsuki's organization is to capture the 8-tailed person Zuli of Union Village. Is that so? This is also the original plot, which is not surprising. And if there is no accident, what Sasuke catches is probably just an octopus foot. The real Eight Tails, and his man, Rabbi Jurich, have already taken the opportunity to slip away. Wait. After thinking for a moment, Long Yi suddenly came back to his senses and looked at Tsunade suspiciously. Why are you telling me this? You may not know that the eight-tailed Manchuri is Raikage's younger brother. Without answering Ryuya, Tsunade continued. Before this, Yunyun's two-tailed man Zuli disappeared, and his whereabouts are still unknown. It should have been poisoned by the Shao organization. Long also pouted, and the second and second tails were actually abducted by him, and then asked again. And then. So Raikage is very angry. Tsunade, who was taken for granted, suddenly looked solemn. So, Rain has notified the other 4 hidden villages and called for the Five Shadows Conference. Five Shadows Conference. Long also widened his eyes. In this world, all 5 people who have the title of Shadow meet in a meeting to discuss matters. I have to say, this is a big event in the ninja world. You know, when the shadows of various villages meet, always pay attention to the pomp. At this time, Tsunade suddenly smiled strangely again. Furthermore, there may be hostile forces that intercept and kill on the road. As a medical ninja, I have no fighting power, and I am afraid that I will be killed if I am not careful. Long also pouted for a while, thinking that if you have 100 skills, you can't die if you cut your body in 2, and no ordinary person can kill you. In fact, about Tsunade's purpose, Long had already guessed it, but he still pretended to be stupid and asked. And then? Then I need strong guards. Join me in this Five Shadows Conference. Oh. According to the regulations, each shadow can bring 2 guards. Oh. Oh shit. Looking at Ryuya, who was still pretending to be stupid, Tsunade instantly lost his patience. You go with me to the Five Shadows Conference as one of my guards. Long also pondered a little, and then said. Let me protect you, but on one condition. This is the order I gave you as Hokage, and you have no right to refuse. Otherwise, my stomach hurts that day and I can't go out. You. Tsunade froze for a moment, and heaved a sigh of relief. Okay, what conditions? Don't go too far. Not too much at all. Long was also instantly overjoyed, and said with a smile on his face. Senior sister, please teach me, weird power. Weird power. Tsunade couldn't help but startled and looked at Long Yi suspiciously. You have already learned Shanjutsu, and what are you doing with this ninjutsu? It's useful anyway. Long did not explain, and said directly. Anyway, I'll accompany you to the Five Shadows Conference, and you just happen to guide me on the way. It's a word. Tsunade smiled and nodded immediately. This request is indeed not excessive. In fact, there is no need to wait until departure. Tsunade can teach Ryuya now. As a high-level ninjutsu, it is not that complicated, and the dragon's enhanced, super brain, has amazing memory and comprehension abilities. Tsunade just said it once, and he already fully understood. As Hokage, Tsunade has no time to guide for the time being, so Long also went back to practice on his own. Move chakra, focus on one point. In the next 3 days, the dragon was also practicing strange power. On the 4th day, it was already the day to leave for the Five Shadows Convention. This morning, Ryuya and Yuhika, as the guards of the trip, left Konoha with Tsunade. The reason why he chose Yuhika is because Tsunade believes that dragons also have powerful physical and ninjutsu skills, but they lack illusion, and Yuhika, who is good at illusion, makes up for it. But how did she know that if someone dared to perform illusions on the dragon, it would simply be a dead end? Yuhi Hong. Looking at Hong, who is not as sexy as Tsunade, Long was also a little confused. According to the plot of the original novel, at this time Hong Yuhi, shouldn't she be pregnant with Asma's child? Because of the arrival of Ryuya, Asma did not sacrifice. However, probably because of his butterfly, the children who originally belonged to them were gone. And it seems that, up to now, Asuma has not pursued Yuhika, and it seems that Sarutobi has no future at all. It really wasn't my intention. Long also admitted that, as a transmigrator, he was cheap, and he was greedy for Yuri Hong's body, but he really didn't want to dismantle this pair. But that's it. Senior sister, I still don't quite understand how to collect Chakra's luck. Don't think about it for the time being. While rushing on the road, Long also asked Tsunade for advice on some problems in his cultivation in the past few days. Philo reminds you, 3 things to read. 078. Terumi Mei, listen to me, this is a misunderstanding. As a high-level ninjutsu, strange is not difficult to understand, and with Tsunade's guidance, the dragon quickly has no doubts, and then there is only repeated practice. While on the road, keep trying the fine control of chakra. Of course, while cultivating, Long did not forget his duty to protect Hokage. As a hidden village of a big country, even if it yearns for the light, there are countless grudges. So along the way, ambushes, interceptions, traps, and all kinds of assassinations come one after another. Long couldn't help but suspect that it was some bastard in the village who leaked their information to the enemy. I'm afraid it's only the old bastard Danzo. After all, he's the only one who thinks that Hokage will die soon. In fact, if it wasn't for the dragon who appeared in time to defeat Pain and save Konoha, Tsunade would have fallen into a coma at this time, and Danzo had already taken the position as he wished and happily attended the Five Shadows conference. Sasuke. At the same time, recalling the original plot of the Five Shadows conference, Long couldn't help frowning slightly. If nothing else, Sasuke, who learned the truth about Itachi, has already decided to take revenge on Konoha. And under Obito's instigation, his first stop was Five Shadows Conference, assassinating Hokage. In the original book, Danzo jumped out on his own initiative and became a scapegoat. But now, it was Tsunade who went to the Five Shadows Conference. Therefore, even if Tsunade didn't say it, in order to prevent Sasuke from attacking, the dragon would also take the initiative to act as a bodyguard. It's so early, you wait here for a while, I'll go down the road ahead. This morning, when I woke up, I heard movement in front of me. Ryuya, who was about to wash up, explained to Tsunade and Hong, and then he touched it. Is there another enemy? Hong frowned, then nervously guarded Tsunade's side. Although every time, the dragon can solve the danger in advance. But as a bodyguard, she would not take it lightly. Take it easy and leave it to the dragon to handle it. Tsunade smiled and washed his face refreshed. Couldn't help thinking that this time the deadlift dragon also acted as an escort. It was really wise, and the journey went very smoothly. 3-3. At this time, the dragon has also touched the front, and under the monitoring of the radar ear, the positions of the 3 enemies are also clear. One of them, the distance is relatively close, should be the front station. The other 2 are a little further away, and I am afraid they are doing an ambush. In that case. Long Yi's mouth smiled, and he went directly behind the man in front, thinking that he should solve one first, and quickly formed a seal with his hands. Fire escape. The art of fireball. Immediately afterwards, a huge fireball dozens of meters in diameter smashed into the bushes where the man was hiding. Boom! The fireball landed, and then exploded, engulfing 100 meters in an instant. Water escape. Water Dragon Ball technique. And at this moment, high above the head, there was a sudden light drink, followed by a huge water dragon, roaring and crashing into the dragon. Junin. Long Yi sneered at the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he met a master this time. Not only did he escape his sneak attack, but he was also able to strike back so quickly and sharply. While thinking, the dragon also quickly retreated to dodge. Boom! The next moment, the empty water dragon knocked the dragon out of a big pit where he was just now. Yo, still a handsome man. At this time, a voice sounded from the opposite side. Female. Long also looked up and saw that she was indeed and she was a beautiful woman. How could the beauty of Qingben be a thief? She couldn't help smiling and said, "You are such a beautiful woman. If you don't find someone to marry, what kind of assassin will you be?" "Marry? Did you just say marry?" Hearing this, the female ninja who had been teasing just now had a ferocious face in an instant, and then rushed up. Long was also at a loss. Did he say something that shouldn't be said? And then he didn't think much about it, and went straight to meet him. The next moment, the two of them started a battle of physical arts among the trees. Here. While fighting the ninja, Ryu listened to her other two companions. Too much movement just now, and they have already rushed here. Not moving. But after arriving, the two did not shoot immediately, but hid behind the grass. Long Yi sneered at the corner of his mouth, as if he was looking for a chance to sneak attack. But unfortunately, their every move is under Long Yi's control, so they won't be given this chance. So strong. At the same time, Long couldn't help but find that the female ninja on the other side had quite strong physical skills, and I'm afraid it would not lose to Konoha's General Joinin. A small ninja village, or some mercenaries. But judging from the tricks of this female ninja, it doesn't seem like it came from a small place. Long couldn't help but wonder if she was a rebellious ninja from a large hidden village who didn't wear a forehead guard, which was hard to judge. However, judging from the murderous aura of the opponent, it was undoubtedly an assassin. At this time, I couldn't find a chance to get out. The two companions of the female ninja were already moving their positions quietly, trying to form a flanking attack on the dragon. It seems that it can't be dragged on, and the battle must be resolved as soon as possible. It's a pity. Although he was an assassin, it was a pity to kill him like that. Or very few female ninjas, not to mention such super beautiful women. Thinking of this, Long couldn't help but smile. Dissolving. The magic of dissolving monsters. At this time, the female ninja shouted loudly, spewing a large amount of glued liquid from her mouth, and poured it directly on Long Yi. Ninja thought, it would be a pity to kill such a handsome assassin, but who asked him to mention marriage to her? Whoosh! And at the next moment, what surprised the ninja was that the other party flickered and turned instantly escape from her large-scale acid attack. Female ninja frowned. Could it be a time-space ninjutsu similar to Flying Thunder God? At the same time, be vigilant immediately. Not good. The next moment, the dragon also appeared behind her. Female ninja's face changed greatly in an instant, and she secretly said, "I'm careless, and then I have to prepare for defense." But unfortunately, the dragon has already formed yin-yin with both hands and launched a surprise attack directly. PFF'd. The next moment, a muffled sound was followed by a scream, resounding throughout the jungle. The female ninja lay on the ground in pain, scolding in her heart, "What the hell is this move?" Long Ya's face was full of relief. It's been a long time since he was so happy. Heart Road, such a beautiful female ninja, it is a pity to kill, just punish her. Shuiying-sama. But at this moment, with two exclamations, the female ninja's companions jumped out without caring about hiding. Not going to attack. Well, they said just now. Shuiying. Long Yi, who was complacent, was stunned for a moment, and then he looked at the two who jumped out. They were clearly wearing fog-hidden forehead guards. Could she be? Looking at the female ninja lying on the ground again, Long was also stunned for a moment, and at this time, the two mist ninjas rushed up with murderous intent. Nima. This time Oolong was hit, and Long also used a substitute technique and ran away immediately. Tsunade and the others directly. Is it resolved? Tsunade was getting ready to eat when he saw the dragon coming back. Let's eat together. Eating a hare, Long also grabbed the two and ran away desperately. The two were confused, and then they couldn't help but wonder again, and looked at each other suspiciously. What kind of opponent was this time, and even frightened Long into such a damn boy. I must kill. At this moment, there was a hysterical roar from the depths of the woods, followed by another painful groan. 079. Size Rui. This Five Shadows conference, for the sake of fairness, is not in the Five Kingdoms, but in a neutral country, the Iron Country known as the Kingdom of Samurai. It's over, it's over. Having entered the territory of the Iron Country, and getting closer and closer to the meeting place, Long couldn't help frowning. The hatred of the chrysanthemums is never shared, and this is evident from Tsunade. If Terumi-Mei saw Ryuya, he would not be able to swallow him alive. But speaking of which, I can't blame the dragon. A good-looking water shadow, why is it sneaking around, making him mistakenly think it's an assassin? And there is no forehead guard, no fog-hidden sign. The two guards wearing forehead guards were not around, making it like an ambush. And unfortunately, Ryu didn't wear a Konoha forehead because he was just about to take a shower. But in fact, I can't blame Terumi-Mei. If she wants to take it easy, she has to hide it. And which shadow? There is the exclusive logo of the shadow wearing a forehead hat, so big and heavy, who usually wears it. As for why the guards are so far away, they are all men, Terumi-Mei said, they must not be far away. In short, everything is a misunderstanding. However, if Long Yi said to Mei Ming, this was a misunderstanding, could it be possible? Just imagine that when anyone was taking a piss, suddenly a big fireball was thrown, blowing up the toilet, and he would not be in a good mood. What's more, Long also exploded her later. It's dead, it's dead. Thinking of this, Long was already mourning for himself. No. But as a ninja, how can you wait to die so easily? Long Yi frowned and began to think about countermeasures. When he arrives at the venue, as Hokage's guard, he will definitely meet Terumi-Mei. Then don't go, run away, I'm afraid it won't work to turn around and go back to Konoha now. After all, the work of guarding is not a child's play. And it is very likely that Sasuke will attack Tsunade at the Five Shadows convention. Since you can't slip, you can only change your face. At Terumi-Mei's level, no matter how the dragon is wrapped and made up, he can probably be recognized just by looking at his eyes. The most direct method is transformation. But the problem is that Terumi-Mei's guard Ao, who hides a white eye taken from Konoha under the blindfold, can see through the transformation. Moreover, while performing transformation as a ninjutsu, it cannot perform other ninjutsu. Once you encounter a critical situation, you have to cancel transformation system. Frowning for a while, Long also glanced at the system. There are less than 2 days before the next infinite enhancement. Strengthen. Long Yi looked at the transformation technique in the skill bar again, gritted his teeth to make a decision, whether or not he could save his life. This time it all depended on the system. 2 days later, the time is up. Enhanced transformation. The goal of infinite strengthening is skill transformation. As the host confirmed. In fact, after this way of training, the dragon at this time has also learned strange powers. If you strengthen the strange power, it will definitely help his chi and blood flow greatly. Okay. But the situation is special right now. Between becoming stronger, Long also chooses his life. Unlimited enhancement starts. Target, skill transformation. Transformation enhancement +1, transformation enhancement +2. Transformation enhancement +10, appearance similarity increased. Transformation enhancement +11. Transformation enhancement +10, appearance similarity 100. Transformation enhancement +10. Transformation enhancement +20, temperament similarity increased. Transformation strengthen +20 close black lens bracket. The system prompts sound one after another, and the ability that the dragon wants has not appeared for the time being. But don't be in a hurry, shield the system prompt. Long also took a deep breath, and then let it be fate. As a small country, the Iron Country is not very large. Continuing on the road and walking for another day, it is estimated that tomorrow morning, we will be able to arrive at the meeting place. Open black lens bracket. This enhancement is over. Close black lens bracket. At the same time, the system prompt sounded, and the transformation of the transformation has ended. Finally strengthened. Long couldn't help clenching his fists. Even with the enhanced seal of the 4 elephants, he wasn't as nervous as he is now. After all, the result of this strengthening is related to his life. Took a deep breath, and then slowly exhaled it. After firming up his beliefs, he opened the system to check. Success. After a while, Long was also excited, and the system strengthened the effect he wanted. The reason why he strengthened the transformation technique was to avoid being recognized by Terumi-Mei. First of all, he had to hide the white-eyed owl next to her. At this time, I have to say, it is indeed a system. After strengthening 864 times, the transformation effect reaches a perfect transformation. Ordinary transformation, although it looks the same, there are actually small differences, and the similarity is at most 95. And the perfect transformation, the similarity is 100. Not only that, in addition to the external appearance, even the inner breath, as well as the chakra attributes, quantity and other conditions are the same. Really from the inside out, perfect transformation. This is enough to hide from the eyes. Of course, the essence of the transformation technique just looks exactly the same, and the real strength will not change. In addition, when performing transformation, other ninjutsu cannot be used in general. After strengthening, this restriction is broken. Therefore, even in emergencies, the dragon has to use ninjutsu, and there is no need to worry about the transformation of the art. Excellent. Seeing these introductions, Long also let out a long sigh of relief, finally being able to hide it. Body type. At the same time, the transformation technique also strengthens an effect called size Rui, which makes the dragon also very concerned about it. Ordinary transformation, although theoretically it can be transformed into anything, but in practice, it is limited by the size. As a human being, it is impossible to become something much smaller, such as an ant. It can't be too big, like a mountain. Transformation Enhancement plus 86 has the effect of size Rui. Although it can't become an ant, it's okay to become a walnut, which greatly improves the concealment. Moreover, he can really become as big as a mountain. Of course, it is still the same sentence. The essence of the transformation technique is only to change the appearance, but his own strength remains unchanged. Even if it becomes the size of a mountain, it still retains its original strength and chakra count. No. But just imagine, the same Konoha whirlwind, the dragon also uses the normal human body shape, and the giant body shape, although the same as 10,000 tons of power, but the strike range is very different. Therefore, this ability has practical value. You know, in the later battles of the original work, there are always all kinds of huge monsters. At this time, dragons can also become giants. If they are developed and utilized properly, there will be unexpected effects. Great profit. Thinking of this, Long couldn't help but feel excited. Originally, I just wanted to save my life, but I didn't expect such a harvest. This wave of transformation is strengthened, and blood is earned. Phailu reminds you, 3 things to read. 080, Uchiha's wife. Why did you become Sakura? Of course to keep a low profile. Low-key. Yes, Seal Ninja, Double Dragon, my name is too loud now. If you don't hide it, then countless fanatical fans of the Iron Country will rush over, and the scene will be chaotic, which is not conducive to the work of guards. Are you still awake? Hee. Early morning of the next day, facing Tsunade and Hong's questions, Long also smiled and talked nonsense. It was a temporary mess. Transforming, of course, is to prevent Terumi-Mei from being recognized. As for why he transformed into Sakura, in fact, Long also wanted to become Hinata, and it was fine for Ino, but Hinata's white eyes and Ino's heart-turned secret technique they can't be imitated, and they are easy to reveal, so they turned into ordinary Sakura. Moreover, he has already cultivated a strange power, which is also in line with Sakura's ability. On the other hand, the dragon also has a bit of a narrow mind. During the meeting, Sasuke is likely to appear, and Sasuke still has feelings for Sakura. Let him taste the iron fist of love from Sakura while he is not careful. Please show your ID. After speaking, everyone has arrived at the venue. For this conference, the Kingdom of Iron provided the venue and was also responsible for the security work, so the 5 shadows had to be cautious. So outside the venue, a large number of samurai were arranged. The reason why the Iron Country has become a neutral country and has been recognized by the major powers is that the most important point is they don't have ninjas. Correspondingly, there is an armed force called samurai. These samurai are equipped with at least 2 katana swords, and the chakra can be concentrated on the sword when fighting. Although the ability is not as diverse as the ninja, but the strength is not weak. Welcome Your Excellency Hokage. After confirming their identity, the samurai respectfully saluted and released. At this moment, one of them suddenly asked a question. I wonder if the ninja Ryuya Takagi from your village can go with you. Dragon also. Tsunade glanced at Ryuya who had transformed into Sakura, then turned to the samurai. I don't know if you are looking for Long Yi, what is the matter? I've heard for a long time that Takagi Ryuya in the hidden village of Konoha, eyes slashes as fast as lightning, and the samurai I want to see the style. Although he spoke politely, and he couldn't see his face with the mask on, his eyes and tone, the eagerness to win, couldn't hide it at all. The so-called IHE slash is a slash with a drawn sword. Is that so? Tsunade glanced at Ryuya again, and when he saw that Ryuya was deliberately looking away, he couldn't help laughing, and then walked inside. Not coming. It's really a pity. In fact, even if Tsunade didn't say it, the samurai guessed it. After all, according to the data, Takagi Ryu is also a man, and Konoha and his party of 3 are all women. But at this time, getting an accurate answer is still full of disappointment. Please come this way. But after all, the work is important, and I can't care about regrets, so I start to lead the way. How? Following Tsunade's side, Long also said in a low voice with a proud face. I said I have a lot in the country of iron. Well, this is fulfilled. Can't you hear it? People are not convinced by you. Black powder is also powder. Or if I tell you who you are, you can communicate well with your fans. Cough cough, business is important, Hokage-sama, please walk carefully, and be careful when your feet slip. Little devil. Tsunade smiled, and couldn't help but wondered why Ryu also transformed, but since Ryu didn't want to say anything, she didn't ask any more. Next, under the guidance of the samurai, a group of people came to the venue and were arranged to rest in a room for a while. After about half an hour, someone came to inform that the 5 shadows have arrived and can start. Everyone got up and went to the conference room. The conference room is divided into 2 floors. Below is the place where the 5 shadows and the leader of the Iron Country, Mifune, hold meetings. The second floor is where the guards stay. Sakura. Tamari, Kankuro. When I went upstairs, I met Feng Ying's guards. Everyone was old acquaintances, and greeted them with a smile. It turned out to be Sakura-chan. I thought it would be Takagi Ryuya. Yeah, what about Long Yi, why didn't he come? Well, he just happened to have something. Facing Xia Yin's 2 Tai hands, Long also smiled reluctantly, thinking that all of you Xia Yin are chatting like this. Fortunately he is Long and not Xiao Ying, otherwise he must have gone mad. As Shadow's bodyguard, I am not just here to chat. After a brief greeting, everyone found a position to stand, closely guarding their respective shadows. Long also glanced at it. Nima, that day he exploded really was Mizukage Terumi Mei. Shadows have been seated, and under the auspices of Mifune, the meeting officially begins. And the theme of this meeting is Xiao, formed, Xiao. And according to my investigation, some of you have transactions with Xiao. This meeting was initiated by Lei Ying, but in fact, he did not want to discuss with other villages how to deal with Xiao, but to question and rebuke. Speaking of which, there is indeed no Renyan from Union Village in Xiao's organization. Both Sandian and Yenian once hired Akatsuki, and Wuyin is suspected to be Akatsuki's birthplace. I don't trust you. I'm not even in the mood to talk to you. I called you here to ask if you have any real morality. Boom. As he spoke, the angry Reikage raised his hand and smashed the conference table in front of him. Swish swish. At the same time, the guards of each village and the 2 guards of Mifune instantly guarded in front of their respective shadows, watching Reikage vigilantly. Konoha. Hot-tempered and arrogant Reikage didn't take these guards seriously at all, and then turned directly to Tsunade. Sasuke Uchiha, the traitor of your village, took my younger brother by. Now I ask you to issue an order to kill Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha did leave the village privately, but he has not been officially designated as a traitor. Whether he has captured your people still needs to be verified. Tsunade's temper was not good either, so he said unceremoniously to Reikage. And Konoha doesn't need Union Village to dictate what decision Konoha makes. Tsunade, you want to. This is. Seeing that the two were about to quarrel, Long couldn't help but speak. Perhaps Mr. Chirabi is not in danger. It is quite possible that he escaped by himself, only for a while. Lei Ying was slightly startled, looked at Long Yi, and couldn't help asking. Why do you make such an assertion? Hee, I actually guessed it too. Long also smiled. He couldn't say he was a transmigrator, he continued. As far as I know Sasuke, his strength is probably not enough to catch Mr. Kurabi, who perfectly controls the tailed beast. What you know about Sasuke? Reikage looked at Long Yi up and down, his expression suspicious. What's your relationship with Uchiha Kid? Classmate. I don't think it's just a simple classmate. At this time, Taing's guard, Hey too, said with a teasing smile. Moreover, I looked at Long Yi with an expression that everyone is a woman and I understand. Long also looked embarrassed. He is now Sakura. He is really not an ordinary classmate. Damn. Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Reikage was instantly furious, and rushed towards Long Yi with a loud shout. I'll take care of you, Uchiha's mistress first.